Mine's
All right,
just sitting in my
hold on a
couch,
second.
so.
That's actually a good jumping off point. Before I tell you how I burnt almost
Oh, dear.
on purpose,
Oh, dear.
not accidentally.
Oh.
Yeah, it was almost a purposeful light my house on fire moment. Players and playettes, welcome back to Two Shots In Podcast. Unfortunately for you, I'm Devvin Burgess.
Frank King.
Ginger Janae.
Who are you?
Daniel Semino.
Why are you here? I need answers.
Frank asked me to be on.
Daniel, how would you describe yourself?
Civil engineer, hard worker, and
It's not a job interview.
No, we're not hiring.
just
Sorry.
no.
Give
I
it
mean,
about 30 minutes. You'll see how
You'll be
not
like,
of a
"Let me
job
know."
interview this disaster.
How much we stay on track.
So you're a new gun advocate?
no, I've always been one for a while. I probably started when my dad became a cop when I was in high school, but 26 now, and
He's
M.
gathering his
How
collection.
y'all know each other?
I know him through his dad originally. His dad lives down the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
well, you worked with my mom for a while, right?
Yeah, and I've actually bought my house because I worked with his mother, and she said, "Oh, a brand new house just came up for sale down the street."
Nice.
So I bought it.
You shot that gun that Paul brought in, the one with the binary trigger in it?
The one that's broken.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Aww.
Junk. It's good advertisement for the junk shit you're putting in your gun. Alright, so first, off topic, but so my daughter's birthday was yesterday. I almost lit my house on fire. So after everybody leaves, and I have a really big headache, I'm trying to fold this inflatable bounce castle up in this box.
Wait, you're trying to put it back in the box
Oh,
it
yeah,
came in?
you gotta give it to.
You can never do
to
that.
Asian people, man. They can fold and box up shit like you.
Oh, when
wouldn't
you buy it
believe.
brand new?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
made in China.
yeah.
Yeah, they fit like 100 pounds of plastic in a box that looks like the size of a football helmet. So I'm pissed off, and I'm trying to fold this fucking thing, and I got shit on my shoes from the dog, and everything's wet because people are swimming. And Chelsea's sister comes running outside, and she says, "Oh my God, get inside now!" I'm like, fuck. She doesn't explain. She just says, "I need an engine, son." So I thought Blair cracked her head open or something. I get in, and she had shit in the bathtub. And there
Blair
was just,
did?
yeah, Blair. Well, no, Chelsea's sister
Hey,
had a worse day
at
than
this
I did.
point, who knows?
Right. Yeah, Blair, they were bathing Blair, and she had shit in the bathtub, and thought about calling it quits for a minute. Just walking away.
Stepping out into
was
traffic.
It was rough because the water washes. I know this is very graphic, so hopefully you're not eating.
can
But the
take
water washes like the shit away from the shit, and you just see food floating around in there. So it looks like she threw up. Paul just laughed out loud. I love it when Paul laughs out loud.
Probably happened to him a couple of
And,
times.
and there's just shit coated on the inside of the bathtub.
Sometimes I just don't feel like getting out.
And it's not the guest bathtub. If it was the guest bathtub, I wouldn't really care because you're the one bathing in it,
Right.
not me. But it's my bathtub.
great
that has
idea.
Feces all in the inside of it, and it's all. She likes to eat. Well, she eats anything. She's not like me. She eats a lot of spinach dip. Spinach. So it's just spinach and shit all over the bathtub, and of course I have to clean it up because
Well,
And then I had to take a bath. Or a shower. I don't take baths. Baths for suckers. But I took a shower, and all I was thinking is I'm standing in shit,
and spinach.
in spinach. Shit and spinach. Really upset. It was my day off, so that was
You
nice.
need a garbage disposal in your in your tub.
I think I would have just sold the house.
Yeah, well, that's why I said it didn't last long, but for about 90 seconds I thought about lighting the house on fire. Just walking away from it. Collecting the insurance.
I get that.
Oh, and then I watched the, this is nothing to do with guns, but it's super strange that nobody talks about it. Did you watch the Barry Seal doc? Not a doc, but it's with Tom Cruise, American Made.
No.
You need to watch it.
It's a wild movie.
It's about how the government funneled resources to Barry Seal, who was flying to, I just watched it. Where was he flying?
love
He
it.
was
Columbia, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was it Colombia?
he was
Yeah.
flying, starting taking pictures, and then he ended up going to a point where he was transporting drugs all the way back with these sketchy airports and
Right.
dirt roads, and flying through trees because he was
Arkansas.
loaded too much.
But the in
Basically.
Louisiana, a lot of it was in Louisiana, and
Yeah.
and they were dropping drugs out of these airplanes, or his airplane, and a fleet of them that his buddies were doing. But anyway, the movie's good, but there's a scene in the movie that I cannot believe that nobody talks about, and it has to be true because Clinton would have sued the shit out of whoever made this movie. They got Barry Seal, handcuffed. And they're walking him in like the FBI building or whatever building that they're walking him in. And some woman's, you're going to jail forever. And he's talking shit. He's like, you're going to get a call in a minute. And I'm going to walk out that
Yep.
fucking door.
That's right. That's
And
right.
but the interesting part was they named the caller, and it was Bill Clinton when he
Oh,
was
really?
either like a congressman or a senator or something. And she says, "Mr. Clinton," and he says, you can hear him mumbling something, and it implies that Bill Clinton let this drug
Guy go,
dealing, possible murderer, intercontinental drug dealer out of the FBI
He
headquarters,
probably threatened him.
and nobody talks
I will
about it.
kill every one of you motherfuckers.
Because if it wasn't true, they wouldn't be able to do that, right? If it wasn't true,
I mean, yeah, unless they got. I mean, that's defamation technically.
but I mean, she says,
or they could say it could be any Bill Clinton. Doesn't have to be him.
right.
But it
Man,
was
that's a stretch, though.
I know.
supposedly in Arkansas too. So.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Uh-huh.
But she says, Mr. Clinton, Mr. Bill Clinton, and she gets all pissed off. I understand. And they let him out, and he's like, bitch. And he walks out the door. But I mean, you have to.
Wouldn't you love to be able to do that? Like you get arrested for something, and you say, "You get a call in a couple of minutes. I ain't worried."
That's exactly how it went down. Yeah. But I'm looking at that like, God damn, how much shit can this guy get away with nobody?
I mean, if he's being backed by the right people. That's what that whole movie Shooter was about. That senator from I forget where
That was a good movie,
was
too.
backing all the.
Marky Mark plays some good roles, man.
I don't know.
I love him.
He was back.
Planet
That
of the
senator
Apes was a
backed
little
that
off the
whole
wall,
damn assassination attempt to kill the
Prime Minister,
Prime Minister
of
of
Nigeria or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. Nigerian Prime Minister.
You brought that gun up here?
I did. I have several.
Well, let's look at
21.
it. Give the
Maxim?
people what they want. Yeah, that Maxim.
She
It's
prettied it up.
What'd you do to it? You broke it? 2 shots in podcast.
No. No.
Well, that's what it sounded like from your conversation downstairs.
Okay, no. All I did was I had Frank put. All right, I don't pretty my guns up, but this one I wanted to because it's so beautiful. So I just put a little purple to it.
It is pretty.
And she got a nice purple magazine in it.
Yeah, I just took it out to be, I'm drinking, so.
It's cool.
I love my
Those things are expensive,
Uh-oh.
man.
I baby talk my guns. I tell them how beautiful they are.
You shot it a lot? What's it, 7.62? No, 5.56.
No, 5.56. So Noah actually ordered this gun for me before I even worked here.
Oh, no.
And I waited for it because he said, I've got the 7.62, you get the 5.56. He said, I wish I would have got it in 5.56. So I actually worked here for another 3.5 months before it came in.
It's cool.
Love that gun. God, I love it.
I'm glad you got it in 5.56. 7.62,
Me
those
too.
mags are a pain in the ass to get.
Yeah, and that's what Noah was saying.
Now you need a binary trigger.
You been chewing on this thing?
Okay, no. So it's this doing it. So I cried almost a little
Oh, I
bit.
gotcha.
I'm a little rough on my guns, but
I like them when they're a little beat up because then I don't
Yeah.
baby them anymore.
Yeah,
I have
mine-
a problem, an OCD problem, babying all my shit.
no, this is the one you're supposed to get me, my application going for. You measured it and everything. And
I'd leave that brace on it. Unless they try to confiscate. You heard Biden's new shit. They're so crazy. So crazy. 6 months, I bet. You'll see something.
Oh, you're gonna see something.
What'd you
We'll
think?
see what.
What'd you think it's going to be?
Personally, like I said the other day, I think it's going to be modifications to him first.
Yeah, I think they're going to reinstitute the 90s ban. Which he kind of
Alluded to, yeah.
when he was whatever he was in Congress or whatever.
Yeah, he was the founder, the father of that 90s
so,
band.
Congratulations.
Yeah, quote unquote.
You saw his new talking when he doesn't know what the hell he's
Yeah.
talking about. It's every day.
He's just
This poor guy, man. I feel really
fades
bad.
off into nothing.
or we'll go from there. We'll
He talks like
go
for a
from there.
minute and he doesn't say anything but
You got to do and the thing.
And at the
And
end,
if you-
at the end of it, he goes
Yes.
Anyway,
You need somebody to
that's the
walk.
fucking leader of the free
Mr.
world.
Mr. President.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
okay, good. Go.
Focus.
This shows you how messed up and backwards the system is. That our choices are a game show host and somebody that has dementia out of 350 million people.
Those are the two that could
It's
raise
really
the most
upsetting.
money.
Yeah. You think there'd be a new way to elect presidents in the future? Like
That can't be.
well, I mean, you can bank online. You can. What if I want to elect you? And we got a bunch of people, and you got on.
You can file your taxes online.
Right.
You can do all that online.
You
but
think
then,
you would be able to
but you see,
draw
if they did more of restrictive type voting like that, they couldn't get all those extra votes that they look for
Yeah, I don't
every
think
year.
they're
Right.
gonna
Well, I
get
think
like
that's a
that.
problem. I think you'll see that is a problem, and it's going to be undisputable that it's a problem.
Well, they
and because it's a problem, they're going to have to look. I mean, the founding fathers were geniuses, probably
Well,
a
yeah.
lot smarter than people are today. But
And they keep trying to find loopholes.
the
in it.
way that they instituted voting per se was, had a horse, and you had to elect a person from your area to be the spokesperson for your area. Now it's a lot. Information's disseminated a lot differently today. So you would think that they would not change the Constitution or anything like that, but update how voting and
Change the process.
right. I mean, we're still doing the same thing
Well, yeah, because it's not.
for the voting portion and the election portion as we were when there was nobody. You couldn't call somebody
Right, there's only like
and vote.
2,000
You couldn't-
people to a town or
Right.
something like that, you know.
I think the system's just kind of
Vote. I say
Messed
vote
up.
for John Wilson.
right. Some asshole would get on a soapbox, and
Right,
just yell in
right.
the town
Stand in the
square,
middle of town
and that's
square
who you'll elect.
where that's the only place you could go. There was no TV. Everybody went and hung out at the town square.
I'd like
Let's
a
go
Jordan
listen to John
Peterson
Wilson.
president. I think Jordan Peterson's Canadian, though. I don't think he'd be able to run for. Well, he might be able to. I don't think you can vote, but I think you can run for president if you're. I'm serious. If
You
you're,
can't be president if you're from out of the country.
Oh yeah, I thought you
If you were
couldn't
born
vote.
in another country.
Right.
That's what the problem is with military, that we're born on base somewhere else, right?
Right.
But what do they do?
That's well, technically a
can't-
base is U.S. territory, but
U.S. soil.
yeah.
Were you born on the base?
Nope.
You look like you were born on the base. Did that shirt shrink? My shirt is.
Oh yeah,
No, this
I
is
meant
the
to bring you
size
my
I
other
got.
one.
Yeah, I got a medium and it shrunk to
Chelsea
what it looks
even
like.
told me, she's like, "Can you trade shirts?" She's like, "I kind of shrunk Devvin's." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I love Noveski, but those shirts shrink up.
Blair
man.
wears it now.
I don't want shit all over my shirt, so no, she doesn't touch any
Or
of my
spinach.
clothes. So what you bought? You bought anything new?
No, not new yet. I'm actually.
What do you
going-
see? I'm glad you came in. What do you see as somebody who's not intimately involved with the gun community happening to the gun community or the gun culture right now?
I find that people just aren't thinking. That's my whole viewpoint on politics in general right now, is that people don't think things through. Like for me personally, my wife will tell you I'm OCD, but I
OCD
personally think
too.
that I like to think something step by step through and through, so that way at the end I'm not missing anything.
Are you a gun advocate because of an upcoming apocalypse, or are you a prepper, or?
Well, no, because I mean, and it's been said on here time and time again. If we get rid of it, or if people are taking away our guns, the people who get them illegally are still going to get them illegally. I mean, we already banned.
That's
weed
interesting,
and
man. So
anything
what
else.
makes you think that way, opposed to all the other people on the other side, that if you banned all the guns, that it would solve gun crime? I don't know how people veer in such wild directions away from one another.
I think it's what you want to believe versus looking and seeing what actually happens.
Because it seems like that's the only two schools of thought, right? You want guns because the bad guys have guns. You're never going to ban all the guns, and you want to be able to defend yourself. Or you veer to where nobody should have a gun. Let's take all the guns away.
Right, right.
And there's not really a middle
There's
road.
no middle
There's
ground.
just two opposing points.
Right.
And I'm interested in.
Well, but I think
What
the
makes
problem
you
with
go?
that is if you veer in, like from the Second Amendmenters, you know, those guys. If you veer any way away from that, like if you say, well, I'm not opposed to
Right.
universal background
An
checks.
inch at a time.
What? Like you don't give them anything.
Right.
You can't do it. You
Well,
know?
I understand
Nobody
that.
wants to give an inch
Right.
on either side.
And I understand the logic.
Me too.
But
Just like the liberals have their, you know, back when they wrote that they had muskets. You know, that kind of bullshit comment. Well, so did the goddamn army at the
Right.
time. That's the whole point. But we still can't own Apache helicopters. We still can't own bazookas.
I would love to have an
I'd like a bazooka. I bet it holds its value really well. A bazooka. We could probably buy one at the store.
I mean,
I don't know if they've ever made any bazookas before 1986 legal for civilian consumption. I'll have to look that up.
I can't own a tow missile. I can't own.
So did you get to a point where you had to choose one of those lanes, or did you?
No,
were you born that way?
I mean, once my dad became a cop, and Frank was kind of coming over here, and they're working on computers, and my dad was going over and fixing stuff for his vehicles, but I kind of, my dad took me shooting one time, and I said, hey, let me shoot your gun, and then I saw that.
Ice and some more alcohol for our friend here.
And actually, I came in, because I was talking with him, and I was young in high school playing Call of Duty. I'm like, hey, they got a 1911 on the front of one of those games. I want a 1911. And he said, all right, well, let me show you a 1911. Let me show you a Glock 19. And then I fell in love with the Glock just because I figured, hey, that's something that I can learn to shoot on. And
love a Glock, man.
I got a Glock, and that was probably when I was 21. But I mean, to this day, I'll never get rid of that now because A, it was my first gun, but B,
why not?
And not to bring it up, but Noah sold it to me. And
yeah, man,
with
he's
what happened
armed
now,
a lot of people, brother, in this community.
Yeah, we can talk about Noah all the time, boo. Everything in my bag pretty much has to do with Noah right now.
And so then from there, I got my CCP, and I actually got my first AR when I was 22 because it was during the whole Trump-Hillary thing. And
a Ruger AR-556.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got that for $650.
Yeah.
God damn.
$1,200 now.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yep.
And so now I'm building an AR-10, and he's gonna help me put it together. But I just find that for me, because I'm newly married about 2 years ago. I call it newly.
Why'd you do that?
I think about that
I'm
every
thinking
day
you're
now.
Smart over
High
here.
school sweetheart, too.
Yeah, me too.
Aww.
You have kids?
That's great, though, y'all.
She,
No, I'm just joking.
It
She's
is.
great.
Great.
The kid's
It's-
great too.
It's like it's this
From
in the
the
works now.
occasional shit-covered tub.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
And my sister has two, and I see what goes on there.
She
so.
shits in the tub too.
The kids.
I've shit in the tub once, but it was an accident. Yeah. You have kids?
Not yet. I think we're about to start trying soon, though.
Baby,
I
shit in the tub again.
No, you don't tell them. You just deal with that
You
yourself.
just leave it.
And you smell for 24
She's like,
to
I
48
can't
hours.
take a bath in there ever again.
It's funny how they laugh too at how funny they think it is when you're vomiting in the tub.
I'm a weak stomach person, too.
Concocting how to light your house on fire without the insurance company figuring out. They love it. Oh, they think it's so fun.
well, then you have to clean it up.
Oh yeah.
He's in there cleaning it. Right now, it's amazing.
They were laughing.
Such a hard worker.
And then Blair's in the sink, my side of the sink, where I brush my teeth,
course.
covered in shit, laughing. all four of them laughing, looking at me like I'm
She's making
some
Easter
kind of
bunnies.
asshole. It was a nice little party though. We had a good time. Posed for the trying to reassemble the bouncy house and the shit covered amenities.
Okay, yeah, so what I was telling you, never have birthday parties at your house. Have it somewhere where it's a limited time, and you could just fucking leave.
Right.
Yeah, somebody else.
And everybody else has to leave, too.
Then you get shit in their tub.
Because if they're
Right.
at your house,
You can
they
do it
will
after.
not go away.
We had.
And then you got to clean up.
And then
No,
you're
no.
rude for asking him to leave.
Yeah.
Well, there was too
All
many
right,
people
time to go.
to try to corral that. It was a lot of people. It was like 50 people, which I didn't know it was that many. But it was nice. We had a good time. We had a cleaning person. Ronnie's wife came over. And Ronnie, his wife came over the day before, and I'm thinking that as I'm cleaning shit off of my furniture, off of my tub, I'm thinking, why didn't we have her come after the party to clean the house? Why would?
Because it has to look perfect for people
Well,
to
that's
get there.
that's the answer I was given. Which again made me want to light something on fire.
Everything has to look like you never lived in the house.
Isn't that crazy? How we
know.
try to trick people like that?
Yeah. Everything gets thrown in the closet. Everything gets moved and straight, and then afterwards, like, oh, well. Who gives a shit?
Go find
So
it.
crazy.
Got to go dig it back out.
Did you change anything? Because I've changed a lot of well, not a lot of stuff since the incident with Noah and everything. The guy that came. Have you changed anything for your personal carry or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I lugged that fucking.
Everything I carry now, I feel like will underperform. Do you get that?
I get it from the standpoint of even the Glock 19. You know, I have the extra Glock extension. You know, I have the 2 extra mags that I carry with me. So 17 rounds a pop. You know,
I've done this really bad thing too. There's a sheriff. So I listened to it kind of, I don't know why, helps me get in the zone with ambient noise. I listen to the sheriff that's out of Florida, and I guess he loves doing press conferences. So there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of this guy talking about how they arrested a pedophile or how they
Every time they arrest somebody, he makes a press conference.
Every time.
I think he does.
Every time, and his name is I'll find it in a minute when I'm off camera. But he talks about every day. It seems like he's
called a press conference. My daughter's shit in the tub today.
But the bad part is it brings to light all of the terrible people in the world,
right?
And how much terrible shit they do. So I've paranoid myself even farther.
Well, and it's unbiased, like the news.
Mm-hmm.
He just goes out there and does it.
Yeah, but people, keeping kids and dog kennels. People killing each other over crazy
that was a good
stuff.
idea.
And, yeah, I know. She could shit in there all she wants. It's a dog kennel. I don't bathe in
Get
that
her
dog
extra
kennel.
large one.
But it just kind of makes you, I don't know, makes you think that there's trouble around every turn, especially after you.
Well, but it makes you think you can't trust. A lot of people now know is you can't trust the news. They let you hear what they want you to hear.
Yeah, and then
to
they
drive
stop
their
talking
agenda.
about it when they don't want the actual truth to come out.
Right.
They stop talking about it. And I know, as far as what I've done, I don't carry less than 5 guns with me at all times.
You leave them in your car when you go places?
Well,
how do you come? How do you
I don't really go places,
fix
but
that?
here.
Yeah.
Oh, and jumping.
We live at work.
Jumping back to that, what do I think is going to happen? I think the manufacturing side is going to change. Like I think they're
going to be held liable in the future.
Well, not only that, I'm talking about 3D printing and 80% lowers and things like that. They're gonna start trying to regulate all that, which I don't know how they would do it.
Right.
Because anybody can. I mean, you can print whatever you wanted. Do
you think they know if they make a big deal about it and talk about it that it drives demand and increases sales?
I don't know if they're just stupid about that. Like how many guns Obama sold?
Right.
By
More
just
than
saying,
anybody.
I think I'm going to ban this or I think I'm going to ban that. All of a sudden, if he said that shit about, I think I'm going to buy this stock, and it skyrockets. It does the same thing for the gun industry.
But they have to know that, right?
I would think that you would think that they would, but they do it anyway, and then they bitch about it. Like I can't believe how many guns are on the street. I'm banning them. Wow, 900,000 of them sell that day.
Yeah.
It just But then how do you combat
I think
that?
about
How
that
do
a
you?
lot. Well, I mean, you would think that if they were intelligent, they would just not constantly berate the fact that they're going to ban all this stuff.
True. But I mean, then you got the ATF.
There's more guns than people. Is that
ATF
crazy?
is flip-flopping
or not?
back and forth.
Do you think that's crazy?
The manufacturers might be in on this shit.
Well, I mean, I think about that a lot. Is that
not on the liability side?
No, not on the liability
no.
side, but I'm just saying. I mean, I think about that because I only see they can't change the Constitution. They're not going to do this. They can't. I can't see them officially ban anything, but they can tax the shit out of us. Mm-hmm. They can make the tax so high, we just can't afford it.
You know what I thought of the other day? After how that, and now every day they're announcing there was a shooting here, there was a shooting there, I thought the other day that I'm like, look, people are after the pandemic, they're penned up, they're getting out, shit's getting real to them. They go ahead and they start banning stuff, or they start saying we're gonna strip you of certain rights. That motherfuckers are gonna start acting out. They're gonna start saying, well, if you're gonna do that, I'm doing this, or I'm gonna take this into my own hands.
The part of the
I think it would make it worse
of the equation that I think is really going to be bad, because I think a lot of Americans talk a lot of shit, but if there's half or a quarter of 1% of the people that say they're going to fight back, it's going to be a really sad, bloody,
I think so too.
terrible day in American history when they start banning stuff and taking things.
Yeah.
What
I'm
do you think about
surprised.
that?
I'm surprised it didn't happen with COVID, to be honest with you, because when
What?
the government's telling you,
Well,
you need to stay home, you can't go out,
the
you
American
can't do
government
anything.
has never said you can't go to work.
I know.
Ever. In American history. But that also shows you that they're willing to push that envelope.
Well,
It's a
and
good
it was
dry
definitely
run.
a test. Yeah, I think
and
it was
under
a
the
test.
guise of
Safety.
it's safety for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
which they've always done that to a certain extent. They've always done, like, oh well, we're gonna take this on now. We're gonna regulate this because it's not as safe as we want it to be for you. That's what the FDA is all about.
Yeah.
That's what
it's for your safety.
Right.
And they approve shit that kills people every day. So
Right.
But
So there's always been like a guise of everything. That's the same thing with the stimulus. Like, why do you think you got $1,400 to prove
To
all
be
the other
honest,
stuff
I
that
didn't
they want
want
to spend?
I was really upset when I got $1,400.
So were me and my wife. I
I
didn't
mean,
want
no. My wife was very happy.
I mean,
let's
for
not
me,
confuse the issue.
for me and my wife,
my wife was ecstatic that we
Well, I
had an
mean-
extra $2,800. But I was pretty upset that there's a lot of. I mean, we've made more money this year than I've ever made
I'm
doing
sure.
anything
I'm sure.
within the gun industry. I only kind of get paid on what we sell or what we don't sell, or so it's bad when it's bad and it's good when it's good. But I didn't need $1,400.
right.
I mean,
And I know I'm going to pay for that $1,400
Oh,
for
fuck
everybody
everybody
else.
is.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Because
Until I'm-
he already
It's
said
not
he's going to
worth
jack
it.
the taxes
I
up.
mean,
Yeah.
the $1,400 is a guy's, in my opinion. Hey, you're going to get $1,400, but I'm going to give however many millions for gender studies here and however many millions for Afghanistan here to help them. I mean, it's all a guys.
yeah, what
It's
they
all
say
the
Have
only
you read the,
only 7%
Have you
of
read
the
the last
actual
bill?
only 7% of the bill actually
Well,
went
there
to
you
the
go.
stimulus. The rest of it went to bullshit
Foreign
programs.
affairs
Yeah.
and yep.
But
and
nobody said they
illegal
even read
immigrant
every
programs.
page of it, all 230 something or whatever they were pages in the when they were in session. They made these.
None
these,
of it has anything to do with.
No, it's.
Well,
I
they
mean, the
wanted-
stimulus is a very small part of it. Like, what is?
I mean, a very small.
Yeah,
part.
what does
Like-
COVID relief have to do with us teaching kids in Africa how to sign language? You know,
Right.
and that's not true. That's just an example,
Right.
but
Right.
it's off
Totally
the wall
unrelated
shit.
subjects.
Well, I mean, then they wanted. I'm glad they voted out the $15 an hour minimum wage. I mean, my buddy, he works for Microsoft,
man.
making a bunch of. He makes a bunch of money. Like if he was here, he'd be killing here. But he lives in Seattle, where it's $15 an hour. I mean, he has a 900 square foot apartment, and he's paying $2,500 a month
Yes, like,
for a 900 square foot
York.
apartment because it's $15 an hour minimum wage.
Look, so if anybody, because I've actually done a lot of research on this, mainly because I manage people. But so a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about would say anybody that can employ people should be able to manage a facility in the way that it can pay $15 an hour to somebody. But what they don't know is, or what they don't realize is, a lot of people that come into a business are unskilled. It's unskilled labor. They don't know what they're doing. So in the same way that a college, people pay the college to go and learn, a lot of people have the same effect on a business or to a business. They want to work there, but they don't know how to do anything. So you can't pay them $15, but you can pay them. So, all right, so if somebody comes in and can generate $2 an hour of value to the company, I can pay them a maximum of $2.01. Or no, I'm sorry. I can pay them a maximum of $1.99 because I'll make a penny off of their value per hour, which will put me profitable.
in the positive, right?
So if somebody can generate $6 an hour of value per hour, I should not drink when I'm trying to do math in my head on the fly, but if they can generate $6 an hour of value to our business, I cannot pay them more than $5.99 or I will be losing money. And a lot of people that are new to the workforce cannot generate enough money to cover $15 an hour minimum wage.
And they're
And
so
that's what they
demanding.
don't understand. And that's what a lot of people don't
Well,
understand.
and not only that, but where do the jobs start and end that are not career positions?
Right.
That I mean, that's
If you
what
just wanna
McDonald's
gain
is. That's
value,
what
right.
cashier.
If you don't
at
have anything to
CVS
put on your
Pharmacy
resume
or something like that,
And you literally want to get a job so you have something to put on your resume.
right?
And you don't have any skills.
You work these
cannot
menial
expect
jobs. You work
to be able to
get the
pay for a
experience.
house and pay for a car and pay
Right.
for multiple children and pay for food, and you can't expect to do that.
Well, it's like all the kids that go work at Winn-Dixie as cashiers and
Right.
stock
You're
boys and all
learning
that.
Economics, you're learning customer service, you're learning
Right,
all these
right.
It
things.
was life lessons. I did it. I
Some
was there.
people actually, and this is very controversial, but some people should, I feel, pay employers instead of going to college. And I feel that college will probably drastically decrease the people that are going to college because it's way too expensive and they're pushing way too much on the leftist ideologies that I think college itself will be a thing of the past in 40 or 50 years. It's only one side of the conversation you're hearing. They're pushing way too strong on...
Well, and my daughter even said one of the reasons why she didn't like college so much was because they go sit in class and all the teacher does is say, go look this up on YouTube, watch this video, and then
they're
take these exams.
When they get out of college, some people have $200,000
in debt.
Yeah.
They're pricing themselves out of the market.
Yep. Well, and like my daughter said, she's like, why am I going to college?
Right.
Well, and half
If
the stuff you're
all
learning,
they're doing is telling me to do stuff online.
Well,
Why can't I just do it online?
Right.
half the stuff you're learning is they want you to be well-rounded. I'm not going to college to learn about
If
jazz. I'm not going to
somebody
college to learn about
was
American history.
able to institute something, and Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you even know who that is, but he's a very smart dude. He's out of Canada, but he comes to the United States and talks about where we're going wrong, and he's very unapologetic about it. He is trying to build an accreditation, some way to accredit people online that costs very minimal, like $15 a month or something. And if he can find a way to only let 30% of the people that join pass, that's valid, you'll have a whole new way to accredit yourself without becoming $200,000 in debt.
Well, you can make a ton of money and not even have to work. You know, Ginger posted something the other day about somebody on their cell phone while they're holding a sign that says "Will work."
That was on the way to work Saturday.
And,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
look, nice shirt, nice jeans, good
Homeless,
shoes.
They say most of those homeless
Freshly
people make between
shaved.
$150 and $250 a
Well,
day.
listen, I posted in response to hers, and I was like, look at it this way. You get a good intersection where you get, like on an off-ramp, where you get like 10,000 cars that pass by in a day, maybe 8-hour day, which isn't a lot if you look at how many cars pass by.
1%, $100.
$100 a day, tax-free. That's like
Damn
$200 a day
What are
you're
we
getting,
doing here?
actually, because you're not paying tax.
That a lot, to be
Then-
honest with you.
Then you qualify. I mean, that's like 30 grand a year, you know, just from, you know, standing out in the corner. Tax-free. And then you qualify for food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, or, you know, government assistance. You could live in government housing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You don't have to work for it. You don't have to pay a dime.
Well,
All right,
one
Paul's
of them
doing-
actually.
He's giving me some math. Thank you,
one of
Paul.
them actually.
You're
I was
like
stopped
30
at a,
minutes late for this match.
Really?
I'm probably throwing out
$200
bullshit
a day.
figures.
Now that's working 7 days a week. $200 a day for 365 days. 73 grand a year, tax free.
Yes.
That's like
But
like
that
110
heroin
grand a year.
addiction.
that's like $140,000
that
a year.
cocaine addiction will get you though.
'Cause they're
That's
not
at
paying
least
that tax.
60 grand out of that.
Well, that's if they're even homeless.
You're right.
You know?
Well, yeah, they're probably not. And one of them even, I was, of course, me and Jenny were in my Mercedes.
We should
We're
grab a
stopped at
homeless
red light.
person in here.
No, but anyway, this is
Just
the
duct
thing.
tape everything, super glue.
How do you
everything
do it?
down.
So look, he's got his little sign and he waves at me at a window, and I was like, he says, "You think you're better than me, don't you?" I said, "No, I just made better choices."
Now you see,
You threw out the deuces to a poor homeless
Sure
guy?
did.
there are other ones though. Like there's a guy that sits right at like the Earhart I-10 merge, and he's got ice chest and he's got bottled water in it. And he sits there all day on his little stool, and he says, "I'm selling bottled water for this amount of money."
See, that's a good one. The people that try to wash your car really piss me off.
Yeah, they just walk up and.
I don't know why they do that. They just spray piss water all over your car.
They think you feel bad and they're paying them for it.
I don't
well,
know
go
why.
ahead.
Yeah, they just fucking my car up,
Well,
man.
I love how they wave. I'm like,
The bottled water's
that's
a
why I
good
do
one,
that.
though.
Well, no, that, and I've seen before when I lived in
If
Chalmette,
it's
when I would
sealed.
drive to work,
You get some lunatic spiking bottled water with acid.
they would have these prepackaged bags of with 6 different pieces of fruit in it, and they would sell it for like $3 as you stop at a red light. That is a great way to make some cash.
If it's not injected,
Well, that's
with
an
something.
entrepreneur. I don't think that's a cocaine addict.
Well, true.
Well, this is the thing. I did when I went to Southeastern. I did a thing on homeless people.
I'm not saying homeless people are all
No, we're
crack
not.
addicted.
No, I'm
We
not.
should kill all the homeless people.
No, not at all. But I will tell you this: most of them, I knew at the time in city of New Orleans, the homeless shelters would go around in the van and try to pick them up. But they said they end up back out because they don't want to follow rules. They don't
Well,
want to
yeah,
get
a lot
off
of
drugs.
those shelters, they say you
They
can't
don't
use
want to
drugs
work.
in it.
Yeah,
right?
they don't want to get off the alcohol. They help them get on their feet, get a car, get a job, get a place, and they don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
they do better on the street.
Well, of course. If you're making $73,000 a year just standing out there with a sign.
That guy's probably got a condo. He doesn't want to go to your homeless shelter.
Well, there was a long time ago. I mean, years and years ago. The Dateline did that. They followed this guy that was out there with a sign, and he got into a Mercedes. Oh. They followed him to his house. Big old 2-story, nice, fancy house in a fancy gated neighborhood. And then they tried to confront him and say, hey, we saw you standing out. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And Prove so it. What? And what are they going to do?
Bill Clinton just called me on a cell phone. He told me to get the fuck away from
you. You're going to get a phone call in 5 minutes. But I mean, it's crazy what they can do, and all the programs that are out there to assist them and help them get away from that, and they don't want it. Crazy.
It is crazy.
Are you familiar with the incident that happened the other day?
Yes.
Have you talked to Frank about it? Do you know?
I talked to my dad's a cop. He talked with my dad a little bit. Told me what would happen.
Where's your dad a cop at?
St. Charles Parish.
What's his? Don't tell me his name.
I'll tell you after. But no, I watched the podcast with Aiden. So that.
What'd you think about it? Honestly.
About the incident?
No, about the podcast. I don't care about it. I'm trying to make money here on this podcast. No, the incident was faked. No, it's not. I'm joking.
No, I like the podcast. I mean, for me, it's sitting
what
here
should we do less
people.
of? Give me something.
I don't
Come
know.
on. Tell me the truth.
More drinking.
No, less of. What should we do less of? Should I shut up more? Should Frank dress better? Should I take my AirPods out of my ear?
I don't know.
Does Ginger show more cleavage? Give me something.
I can do that.
Show some shooting. Show more guns.
Okay.
I don't know. Get out of this space a little bit. I mean, this is your space, but show some other stuff. I mean, that's for me.
Okay.
When people do podcasts, they talk about things, but they also show other things outside, like clips of things. So I know this is starting off.
We need to book Bob Lazar.
God, I love.
I don't know who that is.
The Area 51 UFO
26.
guy.
Calm down.
The guy that worked at Area 51.
Oh well, there you go. I don't know who he is.
You need to watch Google Bob Lazar to change your world.
Oh, I'm telling you.
If you watched the last podcast,
all right, so we got to add some more
clips
clips of guns. I love the feedback, so we got to add some more clips. We got to get Ginger shooting too, because she's not on an intro.
Yeah.
And she's a staple.
I get left out of everything.
No, you do not.
All they got right now is you just throwing a gun over your shoulder looking all nervous.
That cost me a lot of money.
I know.
Yes.
That's very true.
That's why he's so nervous.
Yeah, they told me. This is what they told me. We only covered for one take. It's going to be very loud. You're going to feel a lot of heat, and you might get pushed forward. Don't jump.
I was going to say, I'm proud of him.
So I put in my earphones and I bump Biggie.
I've heard a lot that it's hard to stay calm when that happens.
Well, I mean, you don't see that there was probably 75 or 100 people there.
And he's anticipating this blast.
And they've already told me, if they told me, hey, it's something we made, even if it was a lie, it's dry run, give it your best shot.
Yeah.
Turn some music up in your iPod, it'll be all right.
Dude, I was only worried about that one piece.
Oh, there was a few pieces. And if you look at the building behind it, there's fucking dents and holes and shit. Every now and then something cooks off in the wrong direction and somebody, gets swept under the rug.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was looking back and I'm like, man, I'm pretty close to this. They're like, yeah, well, the video, move back just a little bit. And I'm moving back.
I don't
want
to move back.
You'll be fine.
Like, I could smell the gasoline. I'm sure I'm okay. Yeah, we do it all the time. But I trust them, man. They're good. We actually had him on the podcast, the son.
Spectrum
Matt,
FX.
Yeah, Matt Kutcher, man, super cool dude.
Oh, he was awesome.
That's all they do all day is blow shit up.
And he's great. I mean, just an overall great guy.
Just a great dude.
Yeah, just
super nice guy. But anyway, yeah, that was a... oh, it's so stupid. Such an idiot.
No, I will say the first time I saw it, it looked kind of cocky, but at the same time, you sit there and think about what's actually going on. It's like,
did it? You didn't like it?
No, I mean, if I think about being in your position, I'd be like, I'd be nervous just the same. But
yeah,
I mean, you can see you're a little nervous on your face. But
I thought it was great.
I think you have every right to be.
I was definitely ready for something to hit me in the back of the head or go through my.
I think you should have jumped. Like,
yeah, I should have put on a little dress and went off and ran away.
We'll do that for an anniversary shot.
Yeah. All right, some more clips. I love it.
Like behind the scenes. Jesus Christ!
I mean, I think if you do that, I think you maybe bring a a non-common gun to do maybe a quick review on every time. It gives you some more material to
What
talk
you
about.
want? I got a bag.
You do.
I got 2 different Glocks. I got a SIG 365.
What Glock
Well, we
you
could
carry every day?
I've got
a 19?
the Glock 19 Gen 5 and a Glock 22.
What you
We
think
could do
about-
stuff
one's-
like about simple. I mean, I know there's a ton of videos out there, but like simple.
That's the
maintenance.
only downside was that, sometimes you're
Please don't have an
overflowed
AB, right?
with firearm videos.
Right,
And we
right,
kind of wanted to branch to YouTube or
Well, and that was-
Sasquatch and aliens and
That
shit
was
like
one
that.
of the things that we brought up after the incident. Was in the podcast after the incident, we were
Dirty.
like,
I love a dirty gun.
Oh.
all
dirty.
these podcasts or all these videos of motherfuckers who try to tell you how
They don't
to
know
act,
shit.
how
Right.
to expect something is
Yeah.
going to happen, what to
Yeah.
do.
Right.
After we had that incident, every one of us said, those motherfuckers don't know what they're talking
They
about.
don't have
absolutely
a
They have
clue.
never been involved in an incident. They've never fired a shot at somebody in self-defense. They don't know what they're talking about. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but a good
Well,
bit of
I
them.
said that the other day, that I don't... Look, man, we try to guide the best way we can.
Nobody
But
knows
when bullets
how
start
they're gonna
kicking
react.
off...
Nobody knows how they're going to react.
Right.
You like to think that how you're going to react, and you have a mindset, but nobody knows how they're going to react. I'll be quite honest. When I heard it happen, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, Frank's probably not going to do this. But I'm like,
Ginger's glove.
is he going to just say, hey, guns? I don't know
Right.
about him anymore.
Well, I went
and he'll-
home and my wife had a very strained conversation with me about, all of that.
Yeah, I had one with my daughter.
Yeah.
but nobody knows how they're going to react because you don't. You couldn't blame him one way or the other if he just said, you know what, I'm not in this anymore.
Right.
It's not worth it. I don't think that would have happened. And I'll be quite honest, when my dad called me and told me, because I was in the city, called me about 6 o'clock, said, hey, this happened, Frank was involved. What I was thinking was, because he didn't know much at the time, but I thought he might have been at the range, and when he said that he was involved and he shot, Jesus.
That's what a machine gun sounds like when it falls.
But my worst fear was, I'm like, there's that small doorway from the range to the actual store. And I'm like, I hope he wasn't trying to shoot through there, not seeing what's coming on, and because
Right.
they didn't know who was hitting. I'm like, and I started thinking about it later that evening, I'm like, Frank knows better. He's not doing that. And then, sure enough, as things come on later, my dad talked to me the next morning after he talked with him, told me who unfortunately passed away, what happened, what went on, and then I finally got the full story when I watched the podcast with Aiden. But nobody knows what they're gonna do.
It made me get more involved
Well, that's
and a lot meaner.
Right.
Zero tolerance. Poor Devvin. He's got to deal with me
Man,
with the customers now.
People do strange stuff, man.
I came
You
in the
never
other
know
day.
what's going to come in, too.
Came in the other day and I saw people with body armor. I'm like, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm starting to think about getting that myself, just for when I come in here. Just because
And you know what? We don't give a shit if everybody's got a problem with it.
I don't.
I really don't. I don't give a shit. Because me and Frank walk around here like we're.
I'm thinking about
ready.
when I'm at the range. Is that my worst fear at the range is somebody saying this doesn't work.
Right.
Oh,
then-
yeah.
Happens a
heaven
lot.
for-
all the time.
I mean,
At the other store when I started working there, this was like 10 or 12 years ago. I every now and then somebody would come in. I remember this guy that came in with a shoebox, and man, Gunny didn't put up with any of it, and I thank him because I probably would have got shot. But the guy came in with a shoebox, and everything happened so quick too that it's hard to, especially online, how to judge what's going on because everything happens like this, and
Yeah.
if you don't do the right thing, then there's the whole other side of that. And if you don't do enough, then there's, a whole other side. But it came, literally probably was, all right, so 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. It was probably under 3 seconds. It was probably second and a half, 2 seconds. He came in with a shoebox, and by the time he came up to the counter is when it all started. He came up to the counter, took the lid off the shoebox, and pointed at the gun at us, and Gunny grabbed it, and the gun went off and blew out the counter. and that was the whole thing. And people come in all the time with guns that are loaded that they don't know what they're doing. People get these in wills. They're willed a bunch of guns, or they find a gun under their dad's car seat that passed away, and they don't want to touch it. But as soon as they bring it in, they want to
It's
show
hot.
you what it is.
Yeah.
look right,
It's just
look
a
right
mess,
at the barrel
man.
there.
It's such
No,
a mess.
literally, there's people that come in who have no idea what they have, or have no idea what condition it's in or what state it's in, and they'll say, "I got this gun,"
Right.
and point it right at you, and you're like, "What the?" And then, or they'll say, "Oh, I cleared it. It's good."
Right.
And a round ejects out of it.
So that's all day long.
All day
is what
long.
people
And
don't
that's
realize.
when I came in.
Like,
the
think
other
if you
day-
worked at Walgreens and everything was the same, except all you did was sell guns and people came in with loaded guns. Nobody would work at Walgreens.
It takes
ca-
a special person to
Right.
be here.
Nobody would work at
does.
Walgreens if all people came in with were firearms and loaded firearms, and they didn't know if they were good or bad or evil or heroic.
And I mean, when I came in
bad
here the other
intentions.
day, I mean, I always, I face the door when I go into restaurants. I'm always kind of just generally watching people's hands, whatever, But when I come in here, I'm even more aware because I know there are people who don't
Everybody's
know what's
armed.
going on. I know there's people who are either potentially malicious intents or whatever, or potentially going to influence something. Even though it says on the door, "Don't come in if this
People
is this."
don't read the door.
I mean, I did. I texted him before I came the other day, saying, "Hey, can I carry in here? Can I not? Like, I want to be respectful, but I mean, I think
Yeah,
the
but the
general
ones that are not like you, they don't.
well,
care.
and that's why I'm
They're
so
not reading it. They don't
that's
care.
why I'm
No,
so
and-
diligent when I'm walking in the store. I'm watching everybody's hands, seeing what's going on.
It's the
while
same
looking-
people who pull out an AR and it has a vertical grip on it and it's
Yeah,
a pistol.
we're
And
like-
they think it's perfectly
Man, I'm
illegal.
glad you said that. Look, so there are some contention, and it's funny because I've called the ATF a few times because the way that the law is written. Paul, pull up vertical grip on AR pistol length and see what comes up. So I've done a lot of research on this, and I really don't have an answer. And it's funny you said that because the other day I was showing my wife's cousin a couple of Deadpool guns that he wanted to buy, and I told him, look, don't do that. It's fucking stupid. Unless you're gonna put it somewhere,
Right.
They're Duracoated to shit, and they don't work well because the tolerance are different when you paint the whole gun and you
Like
start
that red
engraving.
1911,
Right.
yeah.
And I came up with a gun that looked just like that. So I said, very nicely, I told the guy who only had like 6. Yeah, that thing is held in by like a hope. That thing's nailed into drywall. I'm waiting for her to rip that thing off the wall one day. So I said, very nicely, look, man, we've had some issues. You might want to take the vertical grip off the pistol, something like that. So you don't get in trouble.
Right.
And it's funny because I came in and it's linked to our store. So he came in. You fucking idiot! Don't fucking tell anybody about vertical grip. The length is this. And I just deleted. I said, look, all right, I don't give a shit. I'm trying to help you, asshole.
Right,
You might not
right.
want to put this on. So he said, the length is either or, and if if it's over 26 and a half, blah, 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 you can put it on. My local ATF gave me some shit, but I told him that this is the law, and he didn't know the law, and you should know the law.
Right,
Look,
right.
I was going to send back, look, man, I'm just trying to help you, you fucking asshole. But
Right.
I just deleted it anyway. But I've tried to look up, overall length where you can, but it's written in a way where it would seem like if you meet this or this, you can put a vertical grip on a pistol.
Yeah, it's
been
interpretation.
explained to me that
Right.
if you meet this or this, you cannot. So it's like length compared to overall size with a stock on it or a brace on it or something like that. And
What are you doing?
It's Capital One. He's trying to buy stock. He's looking up how much money his girlfriend spent on his credit
I
card.
know, right?
Well,
It's
and now,
vertical grip
and now
on
the
the
new.
AR-15, and it's supposed to be like if it's overall. Okay, so I actually remember it. It's if the barrel length is under 16 inches or the overall gun length is over like 26 and a half inches or something. But the way it's been explained to me by people that will arrest me if I do it is that if it meets any of these criteria, you cannot put a vertical grip on it.
Right.
That's all I was trying to tell the fucking guy. But
Well, and now there's this big controversy about because the ATF came out and said, "Oh, it's got to be 90 degrees from the bore."
Right.
So okay, well that
you might have been talking about that. I
that
don't know.
eliminates the
The reasoning
Like the
behind
BCM
the comment
grip,
was
that's-
that you're selling a gun for $1,800. The $20 grip might not play that big of a role if you just want to take it off and
right.
not put it online
Yeah.
that you're selling it.
Well, and most people want to use it as a hand stop in the first place.
Right.
Buy a hand stop. if
Well,
you-
then they've come in straight
But
from
this
the
guy
gun
wasn't having
show
it. He had a bad day.
with his
Right.
I was
illegal
expecting,
gun.
look, I interpreted the law. If you wanted to combat me on it, I was
Right.
expecting the guy to say, "Fuck, man, thanks, man. I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
put
right,
this
right.
picture up. I'm
Hey,
an idiot
fuck
for doing
you.
it." But instead, it was, if you want to teach people how to, fucking put a vertical grip, it's either or 26 inches,
Well,
and
but
then
you see-
mine's 27 inches, and it's the barrel length is under this, and
to me,
I
that's,
read the law.
To me, that's
Well,
people. That's
goofball.
people who want
I
to
don't give a shit if you get arrested. I don't fucking care. I don't even know who
Yeah.
you are. I'm trying to help
people
you.
who
Exactly.
people who ask questions like that who already know what
I
their
shouldn't even
response
send
is
them a
going to be.
message. Thinking back on it, I should have just. I don't even know why
That's
I
just
did it.
trolls. They're
That's
just
exactly.
they're going out there and they're saying, "Hey, let me ask this question, and then I can come back and answer it
Well,
if people
actually-
give me the wrong shit." So I'm just going to show people how much I know.
Right.
That's the kind of bullshit that that's ridiculous.
And it wasn't like a posted message. It was a private message that only this goofball could see.
Right.
You know? I don't know.
He's
People
trying to
just
school
piss
you
me off.
because you
Right.
run a fucking gun store.
Actually, I only read like the first sentence and a half.
No.
Because it started off like... it started off, it was a combat of... My first initial email was like, look, man, I know it's confusing, but we've gotten in trouble for, people that come in and this, and the way that's interpreted by our local ATF is that, you probably shouldn't do it, and especially if you're going to post it online, it might cause you trouble. Something like that. It was actually during the day before Blair's birthday party. People were coming over to set up, and I just saw it in passing, and I thought I'd be nice and tell him that, you might get in trouble for it. But anyway, he sent me back this fucking paragraph, and things are in quotes, and he's screaming, it's all caps. Like, God damn, man, people are nuts. He could have just said, thanks.
Yeah.
Or I disagree.
I appreciate the input.
But instead, this dude took 20 minutes out of his day
interpreted it
to
a little
copy
differently.
and paste and send pictures.
Right.
And
Oh, my God.
all caps.
Well, that's the same as like the gun. And
All right, let's see.
the left and right.
Pull up-
As far as guns go.
It's gonna cut me off when I. All right, so I did this last time, and I shouldn't have done it because I was reading to myself but speaking out loud. The ATF has long held that adding a vertical grip to a pistol makes it an AOW, subject to the requirements of the NFA, which is the National Firearms Act branch. I think that came out in '86. To summarize, I hate those periods. I use them too in text, and it doesn't do any good because I think there's something missing. To summarize, unless your AR pistol has an overall length greater than 26 inches, then you should not add a vertical grip. See, it's cutting off some of the sentence, though, Paul. It's missing half of it. So it's like an either or. Like if the way that it's been explained to me is if your AR pistol has an overall length of 26 or 26 and a half overall inches, or it has a barrel length under 16 inches, you cannot put a vertical grip on it. That's the way that it was explained to me by people that are much smarter and will arrest me if I do it.
Right, and the thing is, it has to be 90 degrees to the bore, they say. So therefore, that BCM grip that's the 85 degree
Right. I
is
get that part
legal,
of it.
right?
Right.
You would think.
Yes, but I just don't understand why you would do it.
But the packaging itself of the BCM grip says vertical grip.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So why does it call itself?
And then what if you did
grip?
this? What if you turned it around and it's now not 90 degrees, it's 110 degrees.
Right.
Well, because I run mine forward, instead of backwards.
Right. So that would also I don't understand why you. It's like
It's
all right, it's like
a
if
loophole.
I know that drinking and driving is bad, and I'm not going to drink and drive, but I'm going to spray a bunch of alcohol scented stuff on me, just in case I get in trouble, I can throw it in their face.
Right.
I just don't.
You're just taunting
I
them.
don't get it.
Well, it's like this rare breed trigger. This rare breed trigger. How is that legal? I mean, technically. I know technically it's legal.
Well, that's a little different because it's fun. This just seems like it's
Yeah,
just,
let me get mine first.
This
throw it
just
out
seems
there.
like it doesn't really serve any purpose other than to draw attention. That's the part that I don't get.
Well, it gives you more control over the gun.
Well, but that's the same thing
Well,
as some
what
of
can
these.
you do with that you can't do with a wedge grip or
the angle foregrip.
But look,
Right.
From Manpool.
some of these manufacturers too, or some of these guys that put some of these guns together, where they read the law, and they say, okay, so that means if I put this on it, and I put this on it,
Right.
and I put this on it, technically that's
Well,
not
I mean,
a
we
firearm.
have them to thank for a lot of cool shit.
Well, that's true.
I just don't know why you would post a picture of something that is controversial.
But that's also
to
why
millions of
we get
people.
these letters from the ATF to say, nope, no more of this.
Right.
And then they back out of it.
Right.
But it's because these people are constantly pushing the envelope.
Right.
You know, which, like you said,
Well, like
you
I
get
get
a lot
it.
of cool shit
I
out of it.
I respect it. I just don't know why you post a picture of something as non-cool as just putting a vertical grip on a pistol. Just
And
to
I've
piss people
seen
off.
like on Bayou Shooter and things like that, like people post things, and
Mm-hmm.
there's some really good moderators of that board that will remove shit immediately. But there's people who post them like, hey, look at my new AR, and
Right.
it's got shit on it it's not supposed to have. Like we had a guy in the store the other day who was like,
all the time.
oh, I
All
can't
the
wait to get
time.
a stock to put on it. I'm like, you realize you need to file paperwork to put a stock on that. You can't just put it on. Really? Like they have no fucking
Right.
clue.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. A lot of people come straight from the gun shows, and their guns are so illegal. We're like, get out of here with that right now.
Right.
You got to do this and this and this to it, and then you can come back in.
Right. Well, the guy the other day pulled his AR out, and he had
All
some
the
shit on
time.
it that was completely illegal, and we specifically told him, you know, that's illegal. You got to take that off right now. Can't have that on in here
At
because
all.
we
The
had
crazy part is
an
that people
ATF guy
will
in the
tell
building.
you, they'll fight with you about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to help you, motherfucker. Why
Right.
don't you just do it?
Right.
Why don't we get the
I'm
ATF
not trying to
agent
tell you
right
what to
here?
do.
I didn't
I'm
say
trying to tell
go
you-
show that guy. What
Right.
you got. I'm telling you, take it off before he sees it.
Right,
And you're gonna
right.
fight with us about
Yeah.
it. I'm trying to help you, asshole.
Exactly.
But we get that from a
I'm
lot
trying
of
to
people.
keep you away from eating 30-cent bologna sandwiches
here's a-
for the next 10 years.
Here's a perfect example. We had a guy come in, and he asked me, he saw we have barrels for Glocks, threaded barrels for Glocks. And he goes, can I buy one of those threaded barrels, and can y'all put it on for me? And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, you don't know, I said, you know how easy it is to swap a barrel out? And he said, no, I don't. I said, well, you don't clean your gun?
Yeah, we ask him that all the time.
And he said, what do you mean? I clean my gun all the time.
well, like, do you take it apart?
And I said, well, do you field strip it to clean it, or do you just clean it? And he goes, what do you mean field strip it? I was like, okay, so do you take the slide off, take the barrel out, take the guide rod out? And he's like, no. And I said, okay, well, I said, you know, there's a million YouTube videos. That's how you should be cleaning it. If you read your owner's manual, it'll tell you step by step how to do it. You know, trying to give the guy advice, like you're doing it wrong. You need to do this. And then he's like, but will y'all put the barrel in? I said, if you want me to charge you $50 to
Right.
put in a barrel that'll take you 2 seconds to do, yeah, I'll do it. I'm not gonna fight with you about it.
that was
and-
like a
and-
10-minute conversation. I remember
And
that.
then he got pissed at me
Yeah.
Right.
because I told him, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take the $50 from you if you want me to swap this barrel. It takes 2 seconds. And he got mad. And I just said, look, go on YouTube. And because he's like mumbling under his breath, I said, look, before you make it a problem, I said, just go on YouTube and look up field stripping a Glock. I said, super easy. You can do it at home, no problem. And you'll see how easy it is to swap that barrel out. You know? I mean, I'll take your
true
money
about
if you
that.
want to give it to me.
I've had a similar conversation about putting on a flash hider or something. You know.
On an AR, yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't want to spend the money
Right.
on the wrench.
Well, no, I mean, I told
You
him
know?
that, I don't know what I told him. I told him that, I'm trying to think back to it, but it was similar, you know, like any modification we do to your gun, it's $45.
Mm-hmm.
Happily do it, but, you know, if you're interested in learning how to do it, it's very easy. It just unscrews. It comes with a little washer that you put on before, and you
Right.
screw it back on. You know, it's a similar thing.
Flash hider.
You know.
Use a crescent wrench. You don't need a special tool to put a flash hider on.
Yeah, he said something to the point like, I've never built any firearms, so I don't know how to do it. It's like, all right, 49-33. I'm not gonna fight with you. You just unscrews and the other one
Right.
screws back on.
Right,
You
right.
can further your knowledge of guns.
But there are some people, like in the military, we had a lot of people that were book smart and mechanical smart.
It's so combative, though.
So,
you think that has
I
to do with
know.
COVID and everything?
I don't know, but I
Well,
think
that's
it's
just the
always been, I
human-
think it's always been that way. Just human nature.
Yeah.
You know, just
See, I've
gotta
made a
bitch.
point not to be like that, and I don't always do a good job. But like if I go to, you know, I don't know, McDonald's or something, and I'll ask them for something else at the window to where they'll make more money. Like, can you add a Slurpee or something? They want me to
Right.
drive around. I'm like, all right, well, I don't want a Slurpee, I guess.
What happened to me last night? I was
I'll
actually
give you
out.
$2 though if you
I was
want
at
to
a
put that cup underneath that thing. And
I was
pour
at a
it.
bar and I just happened to
don't
be
know.
standing up from the table. Like I was right next to the table,
Somebody told you to put
right
your mask
next
on?
to right next to my
Yeah.
chair.
Same thing.
And they said, "Hey, if you're gonna be standing up, you got to put your mask on." And I was like, "What kind of fucking bullshit is that?"
I'm
and
at
then
my
I thought
table.
about it, and I was like, "I'll fucking do it." And then, you know, because there's no sense in arguing.
Right.
You know, there's no sense in being a dick
God, I
about
hate
it.
these masks. Even here.
We went to Boulevard the other day. Well, I shouldn't.
But I
say.
mean,
We went
as
to-
people, we blame the guy,
Right.
Because he's trying to enforce the rule. You know, we're like, what kind of fucking bullshit? You know, and really, it's they don't want to get in trouble either.
He's just
You
doing
know,
his job, unfortunately.
but now there's some people who are just assholes.
No, there are. No, I mean my wife's a nurse, and she's got to wear. You know, she comes home complaining. They give me one damn mask for the entire night.
that actually,
12-hour
I think that's
shift.
pretty fucked up though that they do that to those people.
Well, like her brother and her dad were working.
We got a bill from Blair had, I don't mean to cut you off, but she had those little tubes put in her ears like a week ago, and and I know Chelsea knew. She says she doesn't know, but she looked at me like like I was gonna hit her or something. She looked at. They said, okay, you know, she's gonna be in 15 minutes. The doctor will come and get you. It's $1,000. I looked over
Dad was
at
like,
her,
what the?
and she kind of looked at me like, "Why, my deductible must be." And they explained before this that the operation itself is like 15 minutes, which is amazing to me by itself. That they can put these tubes into a child's ear that's unconscious with.
Well, they're
you know,
not
in their
delicate
eardrums.
about it.
Oh yeah, they're probably. But she said, you know, it's $1,000, and Josh kind of like, all right. So I was like, God damn it, let her have an earache for a week. But yeah, they don't give them masks, man. That's super screwed up.
Dude, when my dad, one of the things about billing in hospitals, okay, when my dad was a prick, okay, my dad would go into hospitals and he knew how they billed. So, and they bill like if they walk into your room.
Was he a doctor? Or?
No. He was an asshole.
He was a patient.
He
was a patient?
Yeah, patient,
Okay.
patient. He would go and, like, if they walked into his room and they ripped open a pack of gloves and they pulled out a set of gloves to put on, he'd say, give me that box of gloves.
Because he's paying for it.
Because they charge you for the entire box, not just the pair they use.
So what did your wife say?
Oh, she's just.
What is she, a doctor?
No, she's a nurse.
Okay.
She's a ER nurse in the city, and actually
Poor
she
thing.
became a clinical supervisor. But I mean, she's complaining about it the entire time because they give them one mask and they have to gown up and do all this other stuff. I mean, I get it.
I heard at the beginning of COVID they gave him like a mask every 3 days.
Yeah, it was. And her brother and dad were in New Mexico working on doing construction, and they sent boxes of masks. Like they'd get one every day, but they'd reuse theirs.
We bought 5,000 of them before all this stuff kicked off. We
No,
spent
I mean,
like $1,800 on this
we went looking
goddamn
for
mask
them
that
and
we're never gonna get back.
we couldn't get them. But they sent her boxes of them because they'd get one a day or whatever. But they'd use it for however long, so they sent a bunch to her. But I mean, it's the same thing.
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but
They still do that? They want to give them
No,
one?
no, it's well, maybe I think but it's not. They're not dealing with somebody COVID every second of the day. It's more normal. But I think they still get one.
you're gonna think I'm crazy. But before all this even happened, okay, my daughter, when it first started, she's like, oh, we got to get some masks. Boom! I put a whole box of them on the table,
That's
and
funny
she
you
was
said
like,
that.
"Where'd you get that?" I said, "I've been having it."
What are
And then-
you preparing for?
Well, I bought a lot of shit back when the whole Ebola thing was supposed to come over here and was going to possibly be an issue.
I want to see Frank's little storage area.
I got freaking chemical suits and everything.
I believe it. I believe it.
I have a couple
believe it.
masks. You have anything like that? What are you preparing for?
No.
Just in case.
I don't know
just
what
in
I'm
case.
preparing for.
Well, I mean,
Oh, I saw this.
Even
Man, this is rough.
my
You're watching
daughter-
these Asian people make these masks in like a dirt room.
right.
Lovely.
Ugh.
That's the ones we
My
have
daughter,
downstairs.
my daughter
So
does
gross.
urban exploring. Okay.
Chinese mask factory. If you look it up, I mean, these people they don't look very clean.
At all.
They're sewing these masks.
Actually,
look at-
yeah, I thought it was Chinese. It's
Look
actually
at his
India.
Look at his
Oh,
shirt
India.
on.
Yeah, it's India. I thought it was Chinese.
Look at the dirty muscle shirt he's got on. And,
Fuck, dude. Ugh.
All right, Andre, that's gross.
And they're all over the floor.
And they're barefooted, walking on them.
Is it a woman or a man? Oh, the guy's on the floor.
no air conditioning.
No
He's
shoes.
folding them on the floor.
But my daughter, she does urban exploring.
Dude,
And-
that's pretty gross. I've seen that before too. But
There's
that
a
is
lot of things that happen like
gross.
that overseas because there's no regulations over there. People work for
And then we
minimum.
buy the shit.
Yep. But there's my daughter does this urban exploring. She'll go to like these. She'll go sneak into abandoned like places and stuff like that to check them out. So I freaked out one day because she went into a hospital, an
Chernobyl.
abandoned hospital, and I was like, you can't fucking do
You
that
got
shit.
it.
You know,
No,
you're gonna
you
get in
do
trouble. Yeah. But so I bought her. It's a full face mask, like respirator. You know, with the canisters on the sides and. I said, please wear this when you go.
Right.
I was
Asbestos
because if I
and-
tell her don't go, she'll go
Right.
more. You know, so I figured I'd support her and say, here, if you do have to go, wear this.
Yeah.
So at least it wasn't, just the respirator and nothing got in her eyes and stuff
Right.
like that because that's just as bad.
Do you what vehicle do you think about like the end of the world and stuff like that?
I think about if something
I
happened,
got
where we would go, what we would do.
Because I know a guy that has a Tesla, and he spends a lot of money on that kind of stuff, and he's a little wacky, but
And he drives a Tesla?
Yeah, he drives a Tesla.
How you
man.
going to charge that sucker
Well,
or something?
Lending to our previous conversation, I just said okay. But I mean, there's like you could spend like that's kind of what he does. He's like a prepper like that. But his thing is Tesla, man. Solar panels, batteries.
Oh, in his house, you mean?
Way everywhere. I mean, he would take a Tesla, which I don't know how Teslas work, but I mean, eventually there's nowhere to plug the thing in.
Right.
Well, okay, so I've actually looked into this, getting solar for my house, and you can get Tesla batteries. You got battery banks.
Texas
takes up the
did
whole
it well
wall.
the last
Yeah,
couple months.
yeah. But the thing is that with that system, you don't need power at all anymore.
Right.
And so you can actually charge your car using that. So he
But
essentially.
I mean, can it break though?
Well, anything can break. Yeah.
Well, what if you? I mean, with like an old Bronco or something, you can get those things that hold like you can drive for like 2,500 miles.
Oh yeah.
In the back of your bed of your truck, and I've seen them before. They're really cool. It feeds into your. It just makes your gas tank instead of holding. I mean, I don't even know how much gas tanks hold, but it'll hold like 500. You can drive.
Right.
From,
It holds a lot more
from
gas.
Mississippi to Canada
Right.
without stopping.
Yeah.
You know, you can drive 2,000 or 3,000 thousands of miles with this thing. But so what were you saying, that the battery can break?
Well, I mean, of course, batteries can break. Batteries eventually go
When
bad.
they lose charge.
They lose
over
charge
time.
and stuff. But thing is that you'll be able to, because when I'm looking at it, the solar panels would charge the batteries and on the battery wall, and it would feed the power company when it was full.
Yeah, but I
When
mean, you
plug
can
your
go
car
into
in-
you can go into a gas station or even if it doesn't have gas and buy 90 proof vodka and run that fucking Bronco.
Well, actually, actually all you really need is you build a gasifier. Back during World War II, especially in Germany, they built this gasifier. What it was is that you burn wood. It's this wood burning machine, and you pump that gas into your carburetor, and then that's how they got around because they didn't have fuel. And actually, over here, when gas was being rationed, a lot of farmers added these gasifiers to their tractors, and that's how they used because they didn't have the fuel. And so, I mean, honestly, you could use it to run a generator, and it's just burning wood.
It's probably not good for your car, but I mean, ethanol or alcohol.
I mean, you
can
can
run your
moonshine,
car for alcohol for forever.
Yeah,
long after that battery breaks.
Yeah, and the thing is that
where would you go? Have you thought about that?
My daughter and I have talked about it a bit because she watches a lot of those zombie movies.
I mean, I love it too, but I think I would probably die pretty quick.
I would go to.
Do you think you would want to die pretty quick?
I don't see. That's just it. Like a nuclear blast or something like that. I don't know if I'd want to live through it.
Right.
I don't know if I want to be walking around in the aftermath of that. Like those people from when we dropped the bombs on Japan.
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to be.
I think about that when I watch I Am Legend.
I don't know if I want to be that outer rim.
Yeah, but that's what kind of life is that though?
90%.
Especially if your
burnt.
kids
Suck.
die, your wife's dead, your husband's dead,
Or
your
your-
friends are dead. You're walking around.
Dude,
in
there's
this
a
zombie
movie.
apocalypse.
There's a movie that my daughter
Maybe
and
I
I
just
watched.
want to go in the first, minute.
He would.
Well, no,
I go check in
actually,
on
you
him
know
in the
what? I
office
would
all the time.
probably want to go in like the first 3 days because it would probably be kind of fun for like 2 days, maybe.
kind of fun.
If we
But
can
after
take
6
all of our
months
guns
of
and
no
ammo.
TV, no
Podcast.
new
If you
have-
movies,
if you
no
have-
podcasts, no friends, no
if you have
family,
no
your daughter's
idea
dead,
of-
your son, your kids are dead, your wife's dead, you're walking around with, an AR.
But if you have no idea on how to hunt,
Right.
grocery
You
stores
got
are only
to.
going to last for so long.
And I don't. I mean, I could build a snare. I could
got
probably
you back.
start a
I
fire.
got
Have
you.
you ever tried to start a fire with
yeah.
with the bow
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking hard, man.
It's very difficult.
If you get that bow and twist the wood
Yeah.
around it and start a fire, man, it'll screw your hands up. It takes hours to do.
Yeah.
but see
And then
that,
you got to keep the fire going.
but see that's why you surround yourself with people that can do it, like Ginger. Ginger can hunt.
Yeah, but half of those
You know?
people are going to die in the initial blast.
That's what you
or
think.
going to. Well, you're right.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's
But I mean, who wants to live like that? You just got a bunch
it's
of
the
badass
outer,
people
it's the outer
walking
rim
around.
people who already live in the boonies that
And you
know,
know you're
how
going
to
to
do
be
that
fighting
kind of
the
shit.
other outer rim people for food and
Well, true.
medicine.
But I watched this movie. There was a really good
But
movie.
so many people love it
I know.
and are
But
fixated
Yeah.
on
Well,
it.
listen,
I mean,
there's
I am
this-
too, but
there was this movie my daughter and I watched. It was this IT guy, okay, who had his whole house was all technology. It was all off the grid. He lived out in the woods with his 2 daughters. And one day there was this just event. It was either a nuclear blast or whatever, they don't tell you. And it wipes out everything, a ton of stuff. But there's still like sporadic people here and there. And it's how this guy survives with his 2 daughters after all this takes place. And he's already off the grid. He's already
Right.
You know, he has all this
Well,
technology.
see, that's a little different. If you have chickens and you have, you know, a growery that has corn and beans and shit like that, that's a little different because you have. I'm not just walking out of my house into the unknown.
Well, I mean, like his whole house
With
with solar
my
power.
1-year-old
his whole,
daughter. I don't. There's no cell phone service. I can't call you. I can't call you. I mean, I can't call. I don't have your phone number, but I can't call you. I can't call Paul. There's no cell towers. There's no electricity. There's no nothing.
And so many people are so addicted to technology now.
Oh, the grid would
on
crash
technology.
and it would destroy everything.
Well, I think just that could be a catastrophic event. Just
yeah.
if cell phones all stopped working all of a sudden,
solar flare.
people would shit their pants.
Well, we've talked about this, me and Paul. We've even talked about a kind of a plan. I've got his address in Arkansas.
So,
if something
see,
happens.
that would be a pretty.
Well,
Yeah.
so, look,
you know there's
shit.
chickens?
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, do
there's
you?
little devices. Okay, these little antennas. Because I bought a set for 2 people that I know that you can take with you. All right, you take one, and she could take one, and y'all go up in the mountains somewhere, and y'all are hiking, and y'all lose touch with one another. It will give you cell phone service to each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. It's these little small antennas that you can charge up and put with you.
And also, like, I'm a ham radio operator. You know,
My dad did that.
yeah, and you know, I have radios, I have extra radios and stuff like that, and you know, I'm assuming, you know, if anything bad happened, we'd all meet up here and load up our vehicles.
Man,
and
I've thought
head
about
up to
that too.
Arkansas.
Though
I'm
there's
bringing
a lot of
the
people
enclosed
coming.
trailer.
I mean, we're here like
We load them up.
10 or 11 hours a day, so
Well,
I'd
but there's
probably be here if anything happened.
a lot of
I don't
people-
know if I'd come here, man.
I think if a lot of people freaked, okay,
I think a lot of people would come here.
you would lose, people wouldn't think about certain things. So I think, okay, everybody's going to run to the grocery store and try to grab everything off the
Right.
shelf, okay? I'm going to go to the hardware store and grab as many packages of seeds that I can grab
Right.
to grow the shit, you know? It might not help me immediately, but
And water
I will
too.
get stuff.
I mean, I have so much water. When we moved, Chelsea's family kind of had like an intervention with me.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, look, because they were helping us move, so they were the poor bastards carrying all this shit. They're like, look, I mean, you have to have hundreds of gallons of water. We
Mm-hmm.
just carried hundreds of pounds of ammunition. What are you doing?
Well, that's why I don't understand why people
I was
don't
like,
get
well,
those bladders,
Bladders
for
that
their tub.
come. I know. I don't know why I don't. I just
Which-
buy an
which
extra
I
case
have-
of water.
I
If I go to
have-
the store, I'll buy an extra case of water. I'll buy 2 extra things of green beans.
Well, but
And in
see,
a
I've
year, you
had-
have, but there's nowhere to store it. My
Right.
attic's full of this shit. My wife thinks I'm crazy.
Well, I have a shelf, shelves in my garage.
yeah, but if you have to leave,
Well, no, just listen. Let me tell you. Where I have 5 Kentwood water bottles, the big ones, okay, that are sealed, been sealed. They just sit on the shelf. Then I also have probably, because I don't care if they have an expiration date, MREs don't go bad.
right?
You know?
They kind of lose their flavor. and
Yeah,
some
they
of their
get they
nutrients,
might
but
get
they-
sticky. They might get a little. The consistency of them changes a little bit.
Have you realized that you're in the room with 4 insane people?
Oh, I
in the
know.
last hour?
I've been in his house a few times.
We're
and stuff,
crazy.
I'm like,
This is the time that he says, "What the?"
And
fuck
I
am
have
doing here?
I
Playing
have
with these
cases of
lunatics.
MREs, and I have these big jugs of Kentwood water. And anytime something happens where I know something's gonna, something
Was
might
she
go down,
pumped about COVID?
we might
Because
who?
that's the first time I've known my wife for since I was 17. I've known her for 15 years, or 14 years. And after COVID, she was like, okay. I
makes
get it.
sense.
It's like I've been tripping over toilet paper for
Oh,
the
my
last
daughter-
10
dude,
years.
my
And she was
daughter-
like, we have 1,900 rolls of toilet paper.
Dude, my daughter said the same
And I
thing.
know
was
where
My,
to
like,
go
mic drop.
now.
It was like, boom.
We know where to
Walked
go.
away.
My
And I
daughter
talked
has
to her for
come
about
to
an
me
hour.
and
Just
she's
sitting
like-
there yeah.
she's
motherfucker.
bragging to her
We
friends.
got toilet paper.
my daughter's bragging to her friends, like,
Wait till you find the seeds and the green beans and the stuff hidden in the
my dad's
walls.
got it. I got canned food. I got,
Well, people started calling. They're like, hey,
oh yeah, the people helped
like
you move.
we didn't know what was going on. They're like, hey, you still got some. You don't want all the toilet paper. They're like, click, suck on that.
$2,000 roll.
Right.
But yeah, we had toilet paper, we had paper towels.
But that's
we
the
had all-
ideal scenario. So what do you do after it happens?
Well, but I mean, that's there were times that existed before all that. You know what I'm saying? Like there was times before phones.
Oh, yeah.
There were times
Oh, yeah.
before toilet paper. There were times.
And I said
before-
that when that was happening, I was like, I've even taught my kid who's 14, when it get into survival mode, Toilet paper's the last thing you're fucking
Right,
thinking about.
you got water.
And
I
I
got
mean-
a pool.
And even so, like,
I
see that.
I've cleaned shit out of the bathtub recently.
But I've got, water purification tablets. I've got things that would help up until a certain point, but they're
Frank,
going to run out
What is
eventually.
your address, Frank?
So you have to be
I have
able to
some,
know
but I mean,
what to do
minimally. It would last a
after
couple
that.
weeks.
Just like gathering rainwater. If it's a nuclear event and there's fallout, rainwater is going to be, contaminated. You're not
Right.
going to be able to get it. That
Can
way.
you boil contaminated rainwater?
Not if it's nuclear. You
Yeah.
can't.
Oh man, that would be so shitty.
I
Have
think
you thought
I
about
would
this?
probably just eat a bullet
But
if
see-
it was
I
nuclear.
thought about it, but I
But
can't
that's-
afford to do it right now.
But that's when you
that
get
was
wells.
my point. I mean, I really couldn't either up until recently.
Well,
but-
that's when you go to wells.
I'll buy an
because the
extra-
wells are so deep under the water, chances are they're not contaminated from the surface level, up to a certain distance.
Yeah, you got like what was it, like 6-7 inches or something like
Yeah.
that of
no, I think
or
it's
2-3
like
inches.
18 or.
Well, no, that actually gets contaminated.
Oh.
You have to clear off, and then you're good.
But wells deep in the water, deep in the ground, you're not going to worry about that.
So what do you do? Have you gotten into this disaster or not?
Dude, I've thought about it a lot. I mean,
It's
The
easier
reason-
just to go with the rest of them.
I don't want to be going with the rest of people. If
Man, I
if
don't
they
know.
think
I
like
might.
people nowadays think,
No, I mean just get wiped out in the first
oh,
40 hours.
at that point it
For
becomes your-
nuclear, I would.
Game of Thrones is already over. What do I got left to live for?
Dude, I think Katrina brought a lot of shit to the forefront of people's minds.
I stayed. Did you stay? I stayed.
No, we were in.
I remember it, and I was young, man.
But I
was
used technology during Katrina. So, like, for instance, we're evacuating, okay? And we're going to Beaumont, Texas. And
if people don't know, Katrina
get
was
to-
a large hurricane that hit Louisiana.
Mean bitch.
so we got to a hotel, okay? And I got my daughter and my wife at the time. And there's 1 million people in the lobby, okay? And they're saying, we're all booked up. We don't have... So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute. I wonder if hotels.com, because they reserve a certain number of rooms for those online services.
Yeah.
So I got on hotels.com and booked a room.
Where you were.
And after I already asked them, can I get a room? And they said, nope, I'm sorry, we're all booked up. Booked a room on hotels.com, walked back in the lobby and said, can you check for a reservation for King? And boom, I got a room.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
it's people panicking. They
Yeah,
don't
they
think
don't
about
think.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that those stupid ear pods. So Chelsea just made a post, and she posted like 6 pictures, and they're not very good of me, but they don't contain my
Ear pods?
they don't contain my stupid ass ear pods.
Oh, good.
Look at my baby. Look at that. Look at that baby right there.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's
dude.
awesome.
She is,
She
man.
is
She's a
awesome.
That is a beautiful baby.
She's so cute.
She's a trip. She gets into so much shit though, man.
Oh, just wait.
Look at that baby.
Yeah,
That's
because
that's
everybody
her
thinks
Paran.
that.
That's her
Everybody-
Paran and her mother
Oh.
right there. Look at that.
That's because
baby.
everybody looks at her and she smiles
awesome,
and they just
man.
melt.
She's
So she's going to
awesome.
be able to do whatever the hell she wants. She's going to get whatever she wants.
Have
She's gonna
you
do whatever
thought
she
about
wants.
that with your daughter? Like, well, I mean, you thought about it, you already experienced it. How did you teach your daughter not to do stuff?
I got so lucky with my daughter.
You think
I
it's just
didn't
luck?
restrict her.
'Cause I think it might be.
Dude, the biggest thing that I didn't do was restrict her. I told
Yeah, but
her.
what happens when she licks the outlets and?
No. Like I would give her
But
advice.
I've
on,
noticed that, like, well, I mean, she's
I'll say
one.
that shock the fucking shit out of you if you do
She'll
that.
try to take the unplugged HDMI cable, and I have to grab it. And the more I say no, she'll just, when I'm not looking, she'll run over there and try
Let
to
her
do
do
Some
it. Let her
kids
do
have
it
to
once.
learn the hard
Well,
way.
right,
Yes.
that's
My
what I
kids
thought.
were all like
Or
that.
give her a
That's
9-volt battery.
Yeah.
Let her-
You know.
It won't
she
kill
might
her,
like
just-
it. I liked it.
Yeah, see, that's another problem.
I will say, I mean, but with how I was raised, I mean, my parents were somewhat strict, I would say, but they also let me learn some things the hard way. And my outlook on it is, you just kind of hope to get lucky that they don't learn the hardest lesson the hardest way.
You think it's just luck, though?
I think some of it is, but like I said, I mean, certain things, like if you've seen the YouTube videos or the videos of the people who are holding the baby and they walk past the door and they pop the door with their hand, and then they go, oh, my poor baby, and the baby starts crying and didn't even hit itself.
Yeah. You
They
can't-
know
they react.
How to manipulate. That's
Yeah.
the first thing
Yes.
kids learn is how to
I
manipulate.
agree.
And if you look at things that way, like my daughter, like I said, I didn't restrict her. So if she said, Dad, I'm going, the biggest thing I taught my daughter was honesty. Okay. So I said, I don't care what you did. As long as you're honest with me, you won't get in trouble, but you can't come tell me the truth to get out of getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So that went a long way on a lot of stuff. And so when she would go to parties in high school and she'd say, Dad, I'm just letting you know I'm going, and I know some people there are going to be smoking weed and things like that, but I promise you I will not touch it.
Yeah, you got to trust them to do the right thing if you
and
tell them
I'd
the
say,
right stuff.
okay, go ahead. You know,
that's so cool, man.
But if you restrict them and you say, don't you dare fucking touch that shit.
Yeah, you can't do
that. And I reinforced it. I would tell her, I know you won't lie to me. I know you won't touch it.
I was like that with my boys, with even like when the sex thing came along, because it's like, don't tell them not to do it. Just say, hey.
See, that's a whole nother
if you
thing.
need condoms, let me and your daddy get them for you.
Well, when I was 14, like my family,
Pull that thing
they
right
drink.
up to you. You're like me. You talk real low.
My family's always, they've gone camping at campgrounds, whatever. They've always drank, whatever. I got interested in drinking at like 12, 13 years old. And so they told me, I'm not going to tell you no, but if you're going to do it, you're going to do it here, at least at this age. And so I did it, and I learned some lessons the easy way, learned some the hard way, and from there on out, I mean, I've been responsible that way. And to his credit, look, if you're telling me what's going to go on, you're telling me what's going to happen, yeah, okay, be responsible about it. And if something happens, tell me so I can help you make it not worse.
Did you do anything different when she was like, didn't learn English, 2 years old, 1 year old? Did you?
What do you mean?
I mean, did you
English
train her in a way where before she could speak?
Believe it or not, here's what I did.
I'm really involved
some
in
people
learning
might
how to
fucking
not
flip
destroy
out
my
about this.
daughter's life.
But at a very young age, my daughter and I used to sit and watch horror movies together.
Yeah.
But I always made it a lesson. Okay? So if it's about, like, if we're watching Taken or something,
Every now and then you got to just think that guy is a terrible father. His daughter keeps getting stolen.
over and over.
True.
When do you think I'm just a bad dad?
There's different movies.
His daughter gets stolen every 18 months.
I'll say, you see, that's why you got to listen. That's why you got to stay by me when we go places, so you don't get taken. That's why you can't play with knives, because they'll cut you like that. That's another way why my daughter has never touched a firearm in my house, because I have always made sure I have some that have never been locked up. My shotgun that's in my bedroom,
we're going through that right now.
Never been locked up, but she knew it from a very early age.
How early though?
I'd say very young, because we would watch these
3 for
movies
mine.
together, and she would see the result. You know what I mean? She knew, hey, those guns can do some damage to people. Right.
Yeah, and that's what we did with ours. Because we are hunters. I know you're not, but we hunted, and we took ours even when they're still in diapers, and they saw what that bullet did to that deer, or that turkey, or whatever.
I killed a squirrel once with my bare hands.
But I'm just saying, so they knew
Sasquatch.
what that gun did.
I caught the pig and choked it with my legs.
Shit.
Popped its head right off with my thighs.
But not only that, like, I remember my friend asked my son not too long ago, does your mom have to yell at you like I have to yell at Hunter and Jaden? He was like, no, she just looks at me.
Because they know what they know.
I gotta
to expect.
look, and he knows.
When they did something wrong, did you spank them or anything?
Oh, I used to beat the shit out of my kids.
Yeah, my mom did too.
Some kids need to be whipped, not
I
all
remember
kids.
my mom
one of
and
my
dad
first
used
things
to-
My mom would grab. I remember her grab, and I love my mother, but
Yeah.
she was.
I never
rough,
used my
man.
hands, but
My
I
dad
I don't even know
was
what I
worse.
did, but I remember her grabbing.
I used
me
the belt.
throwing me up against the wall and hitting me in the forehead.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
my dad was the worst. My dad, I remember one time I showed him a bad report card, and I remember picking myself up off the side of the wall after I woke up, because he knocked the shit out of me.
Some kids are emotional, and the timeout shit works.
But it does.
My kids were not like that. They needed an ass.
It
had a
does
friend of
affect you
mine-
though. Like my dad was so over the top. Sometimes I would get a bad report card and be
You
like,
want to show them.
I wouldn't want to go home.
Yeah, that's too much.
I'd want to run away.
That's too much.
Or I'd want to fucking kill myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I can't.
dad
fucking-
was like that.
I can't bring this home.
I remember we
he's
got
gonna
caught
kill me.
smoking cigarettes, and my buddy's dad made him eat the pack of cigarettes while I watched,
Idiot.
like I was helpless. He
Right,
said,
right.
No, you're not going home. You're gonna watch your best friend eat this pack of cigarettes."
my
And he
God.
ate the cigarettes and threw up and was sick as shit. I was crying. We're like 11 years old. I'm like, "Oh, please stop
Well, you
making
see
him
the-
eat the cigarettes."
the bad thing
And he's
about us-
chomping on these cigarettes and throwing up on them.
One of the reasons I never smoked.
But we smoked
It's
cigarettes
because
after
of-
that.
is because of I saw what it did to my dad. I saw the
Yeah.
X-rays. I
That
saw
rattle
the
can.
surgery.
What my mom
Ugh.
did was, when she found out we were doing it, she made us smoke like 10.
Well, that's similar.
One
same
right
thing,
out of another
Same thing.
until we
See,
were
my
throwing
dad
up.
never did that. But I mean, walking into my house, if you wet your hand, okay, and you placed it on the wall, and then you took your hand off, there was a clean spot on the wall because the nicotine would stain everything.
Oh no!
You know, so that's how I was brought up. That's how I lived. You know, and I saw what the smoke did to my dad's lungs and all the surgeries that he had and all that kind of shit.
It's so crazy though. People are different because I grew up in the same thing, and I smoked. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Well,
how your
I just
brain
took the route of I
interprets.
never wanted to be like that.
I did too.
And I think part of it too was like I never wanted to be like my dad. Like there's.
I had a family member that was similar, probably much worse, and
Well, that's why I'm always in the gym. That's why I try to eat healthy and I'm healthy and I try to be healthy.
I tried to too, but I at one point chose to smoke cigarettes. I don't know. I'm
It's
just
crazy
terrified
how
that
people's brains work different ways. Because it could just be one little thing that you know.
We were talking about
kicks you
something
off.
earlier. Did you ever watch No Country for Old Men?
Mhm.
We were talking about making fires. Do you remember the last scene in that movie? I watched it the other day, and I was thinking while I was watching it, I wonder how many people don't know what's going on right now. The last scene is Tommy Lee Jones is sitting at a table, and his wife says, how'd you sleep last night? And he says, oh, I had a couple dreams. I'm trying to think of how Tommy Lee Jones talks so I can do an impression of him. She says, well, what were they about? And he says, oh, I was, he says, like, I don't know or something. He says, no, come on, tell me. You have time for dreams now. And he says, oh, well, the first one, and he goes on telling me. He said, the second one had my dad in it, and he was carrying a horn of fire. And I could see the fire by the light inside. And he went on horseback, and I knew. Oh, and he says, my father died young, much younger than I am in the dream. So in the sense, I'm the older man in the dream. And I could see the horn. He was carrying fire by the light inside. And we didn't say anything to one another. And he went on ahead in the distance. As he faded, I knew that he would be making a fire from the horn, and when I went to meet him, he'd have a fire going. And it was a big part of the movie, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder how many people just watch that and don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Do you know what that means?
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's one of the best scenes in that movie, and if you watch it again, watch the end of it, and what that means is that in the olden days, because fire was so hard to make, like what we were talking about before, people would, when they would move from campsite to campsite back in the olden days, they would hollow out a horn and poke a little hole at the bottom of the horn and cover it with like a sheepskin or something. And before they covered it, they would take an ember from the fire that they had made before they leave the campsite and oxygenate it and add flint to it and put it inside this hollowed out horn and cover it with vellum or sheepskin and poke a little hole at the top of it, and they would be able to carry this
burning
sheepskin of embers to their next campsite and make a fire out of it without having to deal with all the stuff that we were talking about before. And that was the point of that story. But I was watching it thinking, this is the last 5 minutes he's been telling this interesting story about how his dad would be, after he dies, his dad would be waiting for him.
Right.
And would envelop him in a familiar campsite that has warmth and care with a fire inside.
There's videos explaining the end of No Country for Old Men.
I was watching it like 3 days ago, and I was thinking, as it was ending, I'm like, man, this is such a badass movie. And I wonder how many people watched that and didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah,
I just thought it was interesting that
there's videos that
the
go
directors
through and
add
say,
stuff like that.
Let me
Most
go ahead
people
and
just
explain
say
to you exactly what happened in this movie, or 10 things you didn't realize about this movie.
But that's how they
took
would
place.
transport instead of whittling. But every day when they would move to hunt or whatever,
right?
That they would transport fire in a horn like that. And how the director didn't feel that it was necessary to explain it. He just told the story.
Figure it out.
And probably 95% of the people that watched it didn't know what the movie ended about. Right. Was him reflecting on his life, and then his dad would be there in the afterlife to
reminds me of
to give him warmth and care, to build a fire in the forgotten grounds of the afterlife after he perished, and he would see his dad again, and his dad would be ready with a warmth in care and in a place that would be familiar to him.
Right.
After he passed away.
That's
what
funny.
he was talking about.
Funny that you brought up that movie because I was.
Such a good movie.
I just happened to be watching. You know how Kevin James does those little skits? That
yeah,
where he's the
funny.
sound guy. He did one for No Country for Old Men.
Oh yeah, I didn't see it.
And it's the scene in the gas station where he takes the quarter, and puts it on the table. He says heads or tails, and Kevin James is like, "What are you talking about? I'm just doing the sound here," And it's so
such
funny.
a good movie,
yeah.
man.
And he does it too, and like I Am Legend. He's like way off in the distance, and Will Smith runs up with the gun and he shoots, and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm over here," It's funny. That just reminded me of it when you brought up No Country for Old Men. But
God, it was such a good movie.
it is.
And there's a bunch of things in that, that people don't realize.
Yeah,
That's why movies are great, man.
You got to watch. I mean, there's a ton of YouTube channels that go like, okay, 10 things about this movie you didn't know.
I've watched a few of those, but I was just at home watching the movie, thinking that that's a very eclectic way to end the movie that most people don't even know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, dude, my girlfriend's little boy just got interested in Terminator. So we've been watching like the Terminator movies
God,
every
Arnold
day.
was a beast too, huh?
And, yeah. Well, we got to
A lot of those guys are anti-gun that make their like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
I think he's very anti-gun, and he just all of his movies are
Huge
people shooting.
anti-gunner.
Yeah,
But there's
Dick.
and they
Crazy on it,
base
too.
most of their movies on guns. But we got to number 4, and number 4 is they go back to like the actual, when John Connor's older and he sends Reese back and stuff like that. It's like the future, And they were sitting there watching, and they're like, "This one, we have no idea what's going on in this movie."
We talked about that last time, about that Justice League movie.
Yeah.
You have to watch, and I did some research, you have to watch the Batman vs. Superman. Are you a comic book movie guy?
I didn't grow up around comics.
I'm the same way as you. So I made the mistake of delving into the 5-hour Justice League movie the other night. And I didn't know what
Without
the hell was
any
going
reference.
on. Right. But you have to watch, if you do watch, and it's a good movie, you have to watch the Batman vs. Superman movie first. And then you can watch it, and it makes more sense. Have you bought any, I know we went on a tear just now. Have you bought any NFA items before we end this? Any NFA stuff? Suppressors, machine guns, explosives?
No, but I've been doing a lot of research on
Get a can, man.
suppressors lately, and
I have really bad hearing loss from working in the range for like 10 years. And I get tested every year. Most of the guys in the range, the new guys are going to have to go get tested soon for their hearing stuff.
Yeah.
It's just the people in the range, but you get a suppressor, man. They're awesome.
Yeah, we have a shotgun suppressor, so you can be just
Yeah.
like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that.
No. None of them do. They go,
The only real movie sounding suppressor is 300 Blackout suppressed with
or
subsonic
22,
ammo.
yeah, 22. But yeah, get you a can, man.
no,
Yeah,
I
a
need
couple of
to.
them are cool.
I've
You have a suppressor?
You're supposed to get my
Yeah, I know,
application.
I know.
Yeah.
What are you going to put it on if
He's
you
like,
get one?
sorry, I didn't mean to ask that.
Yeah.
Shut up, never mind.
honestly, I used to work right across the way, and I used to be in here all the time. And it was
Where'd you work?
I used to work in an engineering firm. We moved offices.
Okay.
So we moved from Elmwood to St. Rose because it was a big one facility. But I used to be in here all the time. I used to be a very good customer, and I stopped coming around because it was hitting my bank account. And
Yeah, it's an expensive hobby.
That's
man.
why I work here now.
Work here.
I was,
It's even worse.
You never get a check.
well, I mean, he's told me everybody works for credit here, which makes sense. But I used to.
I just did payroll. You got a good one coming.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't buy
Damn.
much stuff this
I feel
last.
good now. What?
But I do want to end up getting a can, and I'll probably. I mean, he's told me get like a 7.62 can just so you can put it on everything. But I want to.
I'm glad you said that. That's a great fucking point, man. Get a 7.62 can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
and I have a 45
I don't even
suppressor that
have
I
a
can use on
300.
anything below it.
I don't even have a 30 caliber that I could suppress if I wanted to. I
Well,
just
it-
have 5.56 and I have a 7.62 can.
Well, and I'm building this 308 just because I got a 5.56 already. I've got my 19, and I've also got my Glock 43 for conceal. Just because, and the reason for that was my dad said, "Oh, if it's meant to conceal, and talking."
I'm worried about waking up in the middle of the night and having to do something. Somebody.
Oh
breaking
yeah,
in
no,
my
I keep
house and
mine right next to
ruining
me.
my daughter's hearing or my wife's.
Yeah. Well, and that's I was talking to him earlier
Those,
today.
have you ever kicked off like a 5.56 indoors? Fuck, man, it's loud. It'll put you on your knee. It'll hurt your
Well,
stomach.
I was talking with him today too about because a buddy of mine got a Glock 19 Gen 5 and he's got a threaded barrel in it, so I think I want to do all that too. I actually know how to break down my gun, by the way, so he would be proud.
That's good.
Rifle calibers,
But,
man, are a whole different ballgame.
No, for sure, I know.
It'll screw you up.
Oh, we have that LWRC in the range.
It's loud.
When you shoot it,
When you
not
put
only
on
is it
Hearing
a
Pro,
fireball,
it hurts.
Yeah, not only does it shoot a fireball, but it rattles your teeth. When you shoot it, it's like something inside you is just
Right.
going boom, boom, boom every single time.
Well, and I'll be quite honest, that's the first time downstairs I shot a rifle, indoors.
Very loud.
It was a lot different than when I've shot outdoors, with hearing protection and everything. But no, I need to get on that.
$200 well spent,
Oh yeah,
and they're super cool.
How much? Oh, the tax.
Tax stand?
Yeah.
Yeah, $200.
yeah.
Just
that
gotta have
doesn't
a little
include the
patience.
suppressor.
No.
But
That's
now-
what I was asking.
When I bought my suppressors, though, the technology now is it's changed so much.
Everything.
Because then all the unibaffles came out, and then now they have the ones that are just literally wipes. They're not even baffles inside. It's
Well,
great. Some of them are amazing.
The wipes are old technology, but I don't
Oh, I know.
I don't like the wipes anymore though, because once the wipes are shot out, you have to send the whole can back. You can't change the wipes out.
Well, there's one we had that
Kind
came
of.
with a whole pack of wipes
Right,
that you
kind
could
of.
replace
Some of
them
them you
with.
can send the extension piece back, like
Because
Hush Puppy Project,
Uh-huh.
I think, makes one that you can send the in piece back, and although it's attached to your suppressor, it's not necessarily the suppressor, and you can send it back like over and over. So when
Right.
you're
I
not shooting
love
it-
mine that has the baffles.
Well,
White- so if
I
people
would
don't
rather
know,
have, 'cause I
wipes
can
are
clean
like
them.
these-
I can take care
Wipes
of
are
them.
like these wax. For people that don't know it, they're like these wax polymer pieces that don't have a hole in them already. So you stage them. Like if your suppressor's this big, it would have channels to where you put wipes in, to where it looks like a closed room, and it would poke a hole in each wipe as it fires and contain the blast from your gun. But over time, quickly, like after 10, 12, after a magazine, the wipes are destroyed and you have to replace them. But if you don't shoot that much, they're very quiet. Very quiet. I mean, you can get a suppressor that's a quarter the size of a normal one, and it'll be just as quiet almost.
Well, and which one was it? That titanium one that was so light.
Oh yeah,
and it was
Q.
in sections.
The guy that makes that, if you're looking at Frank, over his right
Yeah.
shoulder,
love
they make a
that.
bunch of cool shit, and they make a
But
all titanium
the
stuff.
suppressor
almost.
was all in sections, and you could take the sections off.
Almost make it as long as you want.
Yeah, you can make it
Yeah.
like 2 inches,
Right.
or
Right.
and if you read it, it's funny because after like 10 inches, it voids the warranty. Because if you make it so big where it hangs, you end
can
up
baffle
shooting one
strike,
out.
right.
So it's only up to a certain length, but after that length, I mean, I guess you could keep putting stuff on it, but after a certain length, it would start to droop because it would be so big,
Right.
and it voids the warranty. But yeah, man, there's so
But they're
much cool
cool.
stuff.
And you'll realize weird things with it too. Like I think, just from my experience with it, I think my shooting a 9mm through my 45 can is quieter than shooting my
You're
9
not the
through
first
a
person that said
9mm
that.
can.
A bunch of people that have a lot of stuff. Troy, one of the dudes, that
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
in
yeah.
here, he said, I asked him, man, he's got probably 100 NFA items. And I said, what's your quietest can? He said, my 45, well, I don't want to say the AAC, but they're out of business. But he said,
Right.
my 45 can through my 9 or a 380
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever is much quieter, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But you're not the first person that said that.
Yeah.
Which would be similar if you got like a 30 caliber can through 5.56, theoretically.
Which I got, like I said, 7.62, and I shoot everything under it, from the same can.
And people don't understand that when we try to explain that to them in the store too. They don't get it.
Now I just
They
buy.
can't grasp that.
All my rifles have the same flash hider on
Yep.
them, and then you just change out the piston if you need to. So.
yeah, same here, but I kind of screwed up. I'm with AAC,
Yeah, me too, man.
and I'm heavily invested in AAC adapters and stuff.
Me too.
But like I have the AAC 7.62 SDN6 30 cal can, and I love it. It's full auto rated, and I was looking at that can or getting a 5.56 can, and the only difference between the two, shooting 5.56 through both of them, there was a 1 dB difference between the two cans, and that's like nothing.
Right.
So, and that's why I went with the 30 cal can, because I wanted to be able to shoot 308 on down, and
Right.
that's what's really nice about that. And a lot of people regret getting like a smaller can first.
Everybody does.
Because it's like, man, I could be shooting all of this right now.
Well, and a lot of people don't even think of it. A lot of people think they got to get a can for every caliber they shoot.
Right.
I did before you told me. But personally, I just don't want to spend $800 on 5 different cans.
cool.
I got 3 cans downstairs.
Oh, yeah,
I got to do paperwork on, and I got that another one coming. I want to get that 45 can we ordered, that Dead Air. I really want to get that one.
Yeah, I have a 9mm can. I don't know why. I don't even have anything that's threaded in 45, but I have a 9mm can. And I can't use it on anything that I would buy in the future that's larger in diameter. That's a pistol caliber.
Well, and
I knew that too when I bought it.
You know how people worry about that? Like, that's the biggest argument the liberals have about cans is, they're for killing people. They're for quietly assassinating
I don't know of anybody that's had a mass shooting that had a suppressor.
I don't know of anybody who carries their can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, going to the range is one thing, but who walks around with a gun this long?
Right,
there's I don't know of any holsters that would fit a suppressor.
It would support a can, yeah.
I don't know of any of them.
Yeah, there's some of them because I've been looking at them.
Well, I need one if you know one.
Well, I have a link. I'll or a picture of one. I'll show you because
it's probably it looks like you have a holster though, and you cut half of it off, right?
Well, yeah, it's actually a really cool holster.
Yeah, like the front half of it is open.
Well, and this is actually
if you got a holster and you cut half
right.
of it off,
Right.
So your gun kind of like slides into it and locks, and then when you want to unleash it, you pull down and back. So like this whole piece of the holster would be missing. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Actually, I'm sending you
because I've seen one, but.
This one is really, really nice. It's actually like the top of it. It's like the top of the slide is exposed.
Oh, well, it's probably just the opposite then.
Yeah,
This piece is cut off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just sent it to you.
Man, I love doing these stupid fucking.
But
I do too. I come in on my day off to do it.
I know,
that tells you
too.
something.
So what did you think? You buying anything new? You think we're a little nuts? It's all right. I think we're nuts too.
No.
What do you own currently, if you want to say? A lot of people don't.
No, I mean, right now, the 19 that I bought first, Glock 19, Ruger AR-556. I've got my Glock 43 that I carry with me.
That's a good start.
And then right now, I'm in the process of building my AR-10, but I think the next thing that I want to do, and I'm trying to decide between a 19 Gen 5 with, adding a threaded barrel, getting it, doing MOS so I can put a red dot on.
Gucciing it up.
Why not?
No, I'm just saying.
Or building a 300 blackout, just because. I guess, my dad always taught me, learn things the easy way, not the hard way. Learn from other people's mistakes or learn from other people's experiences, and just from
after all this that happened,
the experience here,
300 blackout, I think is a good choice.
From what he told me, he said, if I would have had that.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You touched it.
I was going to
tell you my recommendation.
Wait till afterwards, bro.
My recommendation to you would be just build an upper.
Right.
Well, I could do that. And that's the whole reason why I'm going through this build process with my AR-10 is because, for me, if I don't know a lot of the ins and outs, like the amount of research I did with this whole AR-10 thing would probably scare you. But I like to learn the ins and outs of a lot of things. And I'm 26 years old. If you talk to a lot of people I graduated with or went to school with, they're a completely different mindset from me in almost every single aspect. But I like to learn the ins and outs of things and figure out things so that I understand them. So that way, if something goes wrong, I'm not sitting here saying, what the hell? Here, fix it. I know what's going on.
The downside to 308 for some reason is it seems like when they fail, and it would appear that they fail more often than 5.56, and they're harder to diagnose and fix. I don't know if a 308 caliber that just isn't meant to work well in an AR-10 or that configuration, but it just seems like from experience that they're a lot more finicky. But a 300 blackout, although it's not going to get you to a certain distance that you may want with a 308, it works better.
I think the break-in time for a 308 is a lot more.
It just seems like the tolerances or the
That's that holster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. It's the same. It's the same. It's just the opposite. Instead of the bottom being gone, it's
so I think with 308s, like an AR platform 308, like an AR-10, you have a lot longer break-in period than like a regular AR-15.
It's strange how that is though. You wouldn't.
But
think.
once you get it to that point, I think they're really reliable. They're really good. and magazines come into
the
play.
other side would say just get an AK.
Right.
And I love me an AK, man.
But see now,
this is
not
the
to
problem.
me.
There's so much shit to buy.
Well,
for
that's
me,
what I'm running into.
An AR-10 for me is I mean, I wouldn't use it for anything but longer distance shots.
Right.
You know, if I'm shooting long distance, I would use out to 300 to 500 yards. I'd use my AR.
Yeah, at least 500 yards.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
But yeah, 5.56. See, I would always say 5.56 9mm. 22 would be
You
the,
would
the first
before
three,
the
or
incident.
12 gauge 5.56
Oh, those are my
9mm.
favorite.
But man, I'm rethinking it,
Yeah.
and I got more to think about.
Well, I was thinking, so next year I turn 50.
Do you?
I do.
You look good, man. For
Thanks.
50.
Yeah, I'll be 50
You wouldn't
next
believe
year.
it. Well, never mind.
So anyway,
You look good for 50. is the point
Thanks,
of the
Dad.
moral of the story.
So the thing I was thinking,
horn
that's,
with the light inside is that you look good for 50.
thanks. So I was thinking, so that's what I'm gonna get. That's two things I don't have that are on my list. I only have two that I need to get. One's an AK and one's a 50 cal. So next year's
Oh, I
gonna
would
be my
like
50
a 50, man.
cal. Yeah, next year's my 50 cal.
You got
Or
a
my-
train running loose in your
I
neighborhood.
hate to say it.
You
Almost
almost shut that shit
She
down.
said that.
Shut it down.
I was watching the podcast when she said that. I was like, "Geez, Texas, here she comes."
Yeah.
There's
Reach out and
50s,
touch
man.
somebody
yeah.
from 2 miles away.
That's
Go.
right, boo. That's right. And you know what? I was gonna buy the one
And
that
the
we
funny
had.
thing
Mr.
is,
Richard
if the
got
world
it.
ended, I would love a 50, man.
hell yeah.
Because you could
You just have to be
shut
in a
down
spot
car.
where
Hell
you can
yeah.
see
You can
everything.
go through a house, a car.
Absolutely.
Well, what's
whatever
that
you
saying? If you heard the shot, it wasn't meant for you.
Right.
That's right. That's right. It wasn't meant for you at all, dog.
Man, those 50s are bad
I know.
to the bone.
So that's my next year. So this year's gonna be AK, and then next year's gonna be the 50, and I'll be done with everything on my list. I've got some good shit.
When you get to 50, the next podcast needs to just be sitting here.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
that, what,
You wouldn't
that
be able to see
M82,
anybody.
is that what we had downstairs? That
We
Barrett?
had an 82A1 or something like that.
that's
I was
big.
gonna get it, and I had the money, and it was gone, and I ended up paying off my car instead.
That
Yeah.
spring piston barrel system they got
Yeah.
in there that absorbs the recoil. That thing
Mm-hmm.
is freaking incredible. Like I watched a documentary on Barrett and how they started.
Bear's a
And-
great company. They make good ARs, man.
Dude, they make great
Make a-
everything.
Have you ever heard
Because
this-
everything's perfected before they release it. And
I
they,
love companies that only make like
10 of them a year. You know.
Right.
No, just make a small number.
Oh, right.
Right.
They
And,
specialize.
like Q makes like 8 items.
Right.
Have y'all heard the story about the Barrett? Some guys were in Afghanistan. They were having issues with
called
it.
Barrett?
They called Barrett in the
Yeah,
middle of a
I read that.
firefight, and the guy
troubleshot it
and
for 'em?
troubleshot it. Said, okay, you got to bend this, and they did all of this stuff, and then got it up and running. Like, thanks, man. Hung up. Got back into the fight.
Dude, if you
That's
look
awesome.
up, there's videos of like the longest kill shots and things like that. And one of the guys, they're shooting through this little hole in a wall, you know, in on the roof in Iraq or in Afghanistan, wherever it was. And they have these guys that are firing from behind another wall, like all the way across in another part of the city. Okay,
Oh yeah, that 50 cal don't give up.
they're firing at guys down on the street, and these guys line up, and from this little hole they're aiming through.
And all you see is spray.
Behind the wall.
Yeah.
Like they shot the guy where they thought he was behind the wall, and he said, "I just saw pink mist splatter the wall
Ooh, I love it.
behind him."
I love that
And I knew
shit.
I got him.
I love it.
Dude, that kind of shit is crazy. Like
I
you know,
love
I'm
it.
gonna puncture this friggin'
Well,
brick
look,
wall
hey, we're
and hit
talking
this
about
guy.
it. This is a 50 cal.
Yes, right
Grab
there.
it right above your head.
right
There's-
above you.
Oh yeah, right above me. I moved him. That's a 50, man. Look, that's
God,
a 9
I love it.
millimeter. It's a 9 millimeter.
Hey, we have plenty of ammo downstairs for it when I get
know.
it.
Yeah, we had to, people that don't know that think we're full of shit. We had to buy $25,000 worth
I
of 50
tell people
cal
that and they don't believe
just to
it.
buy a pallet of 9 millimeter. That's,
And
I
he-
swear to God, that's a
He
true story.
told me.
I said that is community
9
service.
millimeter?
No, for sure.
50 cal.
Well, dude, you've seen the Hurt Locker, right?
Fuck, dude.
Where they're shooting that guy with the 50 cal from
Yeah.
a distance and dropping the blood gets on the magazine. They got to clean it off, That's what they're shooting. That big ass 50. Now,
love it.
Now also. Here's
awesome.
another thing that a lot of people don't know. The longest kill shot ever made was made by a Canadian using I forget the name of it. One of those
Paul!
fancy
Get on it, bro.
PS1s or whatever the hell it
Yeah.
is.
A PSL?
Slacking.
Something like that.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Slacking, bro.
But he borrowed 50 cal ammo from the Americans because it shot better. And that's what he hit the longest kill shot with.
Yeah, man, that is no joke.
Because the stuff that's made for our guys it's like it flows better through the air. You know, it functions better.
What's that say? JTF2 sniper.
He was using a McMillan.
Attack 50.
2017. Yeah, there you go, Frank. It's on his shit, man. That was
And this too.
All right, so keep me an eye out on a good 50 when you're looking.
That
will.
Accuracy
I bet I've got a
International
bunch
one.
on back order.
That's another good one. But yeah, see, he's using Hornady AMAX
You know I
50
don't buy
BMG.
junk. I buy good shit. You know that. So keep that in mind.
The third one, look at that. That was done with a 338 Lapua.
That's no joke either, man. We have one of those here. Mike hadn't priced it yet.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a price on that one.
Yep.
That 338's no joke. I'd
You got to
get a
watch
50
those.
though. The
Watch
M
those
was more available.
History Channel did a documentary on like the top 5 of those, and those kill shots were incredible. Like how they got those guys. Like
Stop.
because the top one, the very first one,
Chris Kyle. He used. I thought he used 308, 338 Lapua.
yeah, 338
No,
was
he
his
had
favorite.
338. It was a McMillan.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, the cool thing about those when those long shots like that, they got to take the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah, the core.
And
Right.
yeah,
Well, not only that, but these guys, they're shooting like when they're talking to them, they're interviewing them about all this shit. They're telling them, well, you can't shoot the guy.
Right.
You got to shoot where the guy's gonna be.
Right.
When he's running or where he's going, you got to shoot where they're gonna be.
Same thing with the Coriolis effect,
Yeah.
kind of the spin of the Earth.
But they take all, dude. There's also specific
Man, I would
sights,
love-
specific scopes
And
that they
somehow,
use.
some of my friends think that I know this because I do not know it at all. But they ask about that kind of stuff. Like I would never, I wouldn't know how to shoot somebody at 2 miles away.
Well, but
Trying to
with
I would
calculate
love that
the
shit.
the spin of the Earth,
with the
then
new
hit 'em,
with that new rifle,
and then
you
know
don't
what
have
that
to.
feels like.
With that new rifle, what is it that has the
2 mile
7
shot?
processors in it or something? Which one is that?
Some of the scope, yeah, right. So some of the scopes that you put on guns can actually account for most of that, judging distance from the size of the target. Mm-hmm. Like if you buy like a Trichicon ACOG, a lot of people don't realize that the crosshairs and underneath the dimensions are to line up a human silhouette. Right. So like if you buy an ACOG, you'll see that the crosshairs where it's split, and then underneath it where it's split and it drops down. Most people don't know what that's for. Most of the military
or even mil
ones,
dots, they don't know.
Right. Well, that's a little different, but yeah, you can. It's made for at 100 yards to put those hash marks on somebody's shoulders.
God, that looks awesome.
And if after 100 yards, an average person's shoulders is the width of one of those hash marks underneath. So you can actually judge distance away and hold over or hold up or hold right or whatever, judging based on an average human's shoulder width apart that's already, that the object already accounts for. Right. Which is super cool.
Now, that is cool.
That's what I was talking about, the tracking point. Now, have you ever seen them use that?
I have.
Because what they do is they aim it, and they there's a little button on the trigger, and they tag what they're gonna hit, and then they pull the trigger, and they aim, and when it meets that point after all the calculations that it does, that's when it fires, and every time it's a bullseye. Now, also the military's development division, they actually have a bullet that tracks into a target. So if you use that in conjunction with this, they show these videos of
it's almost perfect.
Like they're firing these bullets, and the bullet is actually tracking to the target.
Mm-hmm. God, I love that shit.
It's incredible.
Think of where we're going to be in 100 years from now, or 1,000 years from now, or 10,000.
Well, you can buy the tracking point to put on your AR. You don't even have to use the gun that they built. They have a kit that you can put on your AR. To shoot
actually, I know someone who says he's got like 1 or 2 of them.
They're
I've been wanting to look at it.
outrageously expensive though. They're like $20,000.
Yeah, but wait 3 years. It'll be the price of a
But
LG
I mean,
TV.
it's only as good as the electronics that are in it.
And
it takes a round to it. You might as well throw it in the trash.
Right. And then you put it on. If it's not a well-built, accurate gun to begin with.
Right.
Ugh.
And all that shit is just so precise.
I love all this stuff.
Built
Me
so
too.
perfectly, just like the military's rifles. You know, they're those things are so precisely built. You know, they're not like the generic AR that they pump out. You know, the FN or you know, stuff like that they just create a million of and dump to the powers that be. These the especially special forces, you know, a lot of those guys, they'll buy shit and put it on there with their own money.
Those guys themselves, I mean, you were in the military for a long time. Those guys are so hammered and fucking hardened and
Well, type
like
A
steel
personalities,
cable,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's so impressive to see somebody that's been through all that and talk to
Dude,
them. They're usually
look at
very
some of the
calm
interviews
and
with,
very cool and very just hammered into the steel cable that's wrapped and jointed and.
But see,
and
now to some
hardened
people
and
they come across
fastened to this person that you're looking at.
to some people they come across as being psychos. You know, like
That's-
they don't
I know.
focus, they don't concentrate, but they know everything that's
Right.
going
And that's
on.
what if I could go back 30 years, that's the only thing I would ever change in my life. I would have gone into the military.
I think everybody for like 2 years should join the military. Now, you know, looking back,
Well, that's like Israel.
I think there'd
and-
be less murderers and less
Oh, yeah.
delinquents and less drug addicts and less psychos and less, you know, homeless people and less
Well, dude,
pieces
if you
of
watch
shit,
some of the
and less
videos-
people that give up and less people
I
that
agree.
Watch some of the videos with Marcus Luttrell. Watch
Mm-hmm.
you know, like what he went through, because
he was on
he was
Rogan's
talking.
podcast. He talked for a while about just
He was talking the other day about the movie and how he said they couldn't put a lot of the stuff that happened to him in the movie because you'd never believe that
Right.
happened. That's how bad
I
it
think
was.
they should have done it though. That's what it needed to be in there. I think it needed to be.
But he some of the shit that he talked about, like he talked about exactly what happened, and some of the shit is just like it's amazing.
What movie was that?
What-
What was the name of it?
Lone Survivor.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Some of the stuff you just don't know. I mean, what the human body is capable of. Because I mean, his back was broken in like 3 places.
Yeah.
He'd been shot
His spine
so
was
many
broke.
times.
He was shot like 7 or 8
Yeah.
times. He had holes all in him that were
It's
packed with dirt.
it's amazing what the human body's capable of. So, and yeah, like he said in the movie, the part where the guy says, "Did I seriously get shot in the head?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said that really happened. That part really happened.
Well, you know, he wrote the book, and you know they decided to do the movie on it, and they were sitting down with the producers. I heard them talking about this, and they're talking to the producers, and when they were done, they were about the movie and stuff. He stood up and bent over and said, "If you do anything to disrespect my brothers, I will effing kill you," and then walked away.
Well, they were talking to him and Mark Wahlberg. There was an interview with Marcus Luttrell and Mark Wahlberg where they were discussing things, and the guy who was doing the interview made a comment that was kind of off, that Mark Wahlberg didn't like, and he jumped in the guy doing the interview jumped in his shit. So there's a ton of interviews like that, and Marcus Luttrell, he does public speaking. He does a lot of little events and things like that where he tells the
he
story.
went back into the military after that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
After he got all, like
less than a
7 or
year.
8 surgeries he had, and he went back in, went back to his.
What I watched
That's
on
my
him,
kinda man.
what I was watching on him, he was actually talking. It's funny you said that. He was actually talking about that. He said, "I don't know why."
And he's a
my
very
wife-
calm and well demeanored guy. Like laid back.
He said, I had gotten out of surgery. I'd started doing rehab, and I wasn't back to 100%. But I noticed, or he didn't notice, he was in a firefight, like in Afghanistan or Iraq, whatever, not a year after all this happened. And he said, I was on one knee, firing, and I was thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And it's something that they,
We say that here every day.
they do to
like
those
20
guys.
times.
Well,
That
and
they don't,
And
it's
he
just
said-
the type of person.
Yeah.
he said
They just
after
don't
that
quit,
when he started
and they're gonna
questioning
keep
it,
coming back until you kill them.
right?
And,
And he
it's-
said,
those people can be found in everyday life, like kind of. I mean,
Right.
not to equate ourselves to anything like that, but that
Right.
kind of person is different than
Yes.
You're a normal
somebody who
run-of-the-mill
wants,
person, right.
Yes.
government assistance. That doesn't want to work. That doesn't care if they,
Right.
progress.
well,
in
and they
life.
don't, and
It
a lot
just
of people
wants the
don't
bare
know why
minimum.
they do it. A
Well,
lot
I
of
don't know
people-
why. That's why I'm trying to figure out
Just
what the hell is going on.
Like on
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down, where
Just
where
like
the
when you
guy
came
says,
in, I said, why would you go this way instead of this way? I think
Right.
there's a type of person and there's a type of person, and
Right.
eventually there's only going to be one type of person.
well, they think
You
they're
know, in
just
1,000
warmongers.
years,
They
there
think
might
they're
be-
just they want to go fight. They just want to kill somebody, and
Right.
that's it. And most of the special forces guys out there, I believe most of the
Are the
special forces
exact
out there-
opposite.
No, I would say are. I mean, look how many guys joined up after 9/11.
Oh, everybody.
It's because
Everybody.
they love this country. It's because they.
You know,
They-
George Bush had like a 98% approval rating
Mm-hmm.
after going to war, after 9/11. That's what I miss. Not
Me too.
9/11, but that after 9/11, I remember people walking around with American flag,
Absolutely.
high-fiving
Oh,
each
yeah.
other, and now
Not
that's
burning the shit.
That's so gone and missing and just absent. There's a
What
big void.
pisses me off is it wouldn't happen today, even if we had an incident like
Do you
that.
think so?
I
Man,
think
that's
I think we
depressing.
would not have. I think you'd have more people, or you not more people, but I think you would have a large number of people, or even a semi large number of people that would say, we probably deserved it, or they would just be
Well, let's
on
look
the
at why they did
opposite
it.
side of us, and blame us for well, you brought it on yourselves. Even people here in the United States. There's that group of people that think just because we're the United States, we're a bunch of assholes, and they're part of that group. But
I wish we could just send them away. Sad.
but anyway,
All right, so what you bought? We're about to wrap it up. What you bought? What you gonna buy? You ever come back?
I'd love to come back. No, I recently just got some ammo. I've been buying some mags just because of.
That is smart. A lot of people don't
Yeah,
understand.
they
buy
buy ammo
extra
and guns.
magazines.
They don't buy mags.
I've been buying mags.
We tell people that all the
We
time.
still have. I don't think we've changed our prices on mags in
Not
the
re-
last year. $20 for a mag.
even the metal ones.
We got a barrel
Pretty
full
cheap.
of them. Yeah, buy mags,
No,
man.
I've been buying mags.
I can make
some
a
ammo.
bullet.
Now the
Not me. I'm an idiot.
The
But people
win-
can make a bullet.
can make a bullet.
I can't make a mag.
the
right.
windowed
Buy
magpul
mags.
ones. Those things are freaking expensive all of a sudden because they're hard to get. I don't know why.
Well, we
but-
got 2 cases. FYI.
of
Just
the,
saying.
the windowed ones. I know we ordered them. Well, we just ordered
Oh,
a bunch
yeah?
of them.
We
yeah.
got 2 cases of just the regular ones.
Oh, yeah.
And every now and then, our guy at RSR will call and say, "Look, I got a case and a half or 2 cases." Like every 6 months. Well, every few months since all this craziness happened since COVID. Give me all of them, and we'll store them. We'll put them in that barrel.
Did Paul talk to you
$20.
about that new distributor? How they do their wholesaling?
Mm-mm.
We'll have to talk.
You
about
did,
that for
though.
this. Well, they how they
I
actually
didn't
do the
send you that. I'll
wholesaling.
have to send you that credit card too, so you can. Get
They were
some
supposed to
stuff.
send us the email and stuff too.
Well, they got a lot of stuff, but I want to talk to you about
Mike
how
and I
they do the
ordered a credit
wholesaling.
card for you, and I'm gonna send Frank mine so y'all can order stuff.
Because it's more like the
Just
more
order
stuff you
whatever think
buy,
can sell.
the more stuff you buy, it's discount
They all
based.
get you that.
It's
way.
discount
Yeah.
based, yeah.
Mhm.
So, but we'll talk about it after.
We're a little smart with
They
that.
do have a lot of stuff though. We did, and they do limit.
Don't forget
purchases.
my Scorpion magazines.
So we contacted them, and they said they were going to up us to level 2 tier and get back with
I
us.
bought my
Paul.
first house with guns and gun parts.
Yeah.
I didn't pay it off, but I mean my down
Right,
payment
right.
was from what I bought.
Oh,
from
my
Gunny
my
and what I
collection
bought
of
from
Walthers
Noah.
and things like that, like the
Uh-huh.
old PPKs and stuff like that. I could put a pretty good amount of money.
Yeah, those
together if I
wives
needed
don't
to.
like it, man, until you buy.
Gotta get a wife like me.
Till you buy a. I know. I've been asking if you got a sister. Chelsea, I'm joking.
He's really joking.
All right, give us a departing message, man.
My biggest thing, and what I tell myself every day, and people I know, is like just think past the original, I guess, thought of something. This whole stimulus thing. Oh, great, you're gonna get $1,400 and it's gonna be in your bank account. All right, but think about what's gonna happen a year from now, 2 years from now. Just try and think about something all the way through.
What's another 10 trillion on the national debt?
Some
But
of
no,
us don't get stimulus, by the way. Just want to say.
I'm dangerously close to that point. But
Yeah, me too.
me and my wife, we didn't want it because I know it's only gonna screw up. And look, we're 26. I've got a lot of life still to live. And what is the quality that could be? We're starting to have kids, or starting to try to have kids. What are they gonna have to come up with? I mean, and a lot of people who I went to school with and who are my age, I always hung out with the older generation just because that's who I enjoyed hanging out with, because I felt like actually what they were doing mattered. But a lot of them don't do that. They either live off the government assistance or, oh, this will be fine. Whatever. It's like paying out the ass for this and that. It's just, going in to buy a car, people going in to sign on that. Like, just think about what you're doing.
They have the sense of entitlement, and I hate that.
There's that, that.
I hate the sense.
But just think about what you're doing. Think about what's going to happen. Minimum wage, $15 an hour. Great. You might make $15 an hour, but everything you buy is going to be 3 times more. So you might make twice as much, but it's going to be 3 times more. Look at Seattle.
I don't think that
I
far
don't
ahead.
think that way.
Which is what I'm saying to do. I mean, that's
just
what I do.
Like I said, the stimulus, it's great. Give me the money, but then when they say, okay, well, we're raising taxes by 10%.
Mm-hmm. You're going to pay for that money
Oh, yeah.
500 times over in the next 50
Just like,
years.
let's do more programs to help these people or help those people. And then, okay, well, then we're gonna pay for that too. Everybody pays for it. Somebody pays for it. Let's
reason that
forgive
I'm sad-
all the student debt.
Our hard-working asses are paying for it.
And believe me, I would
Every-
love for them to
every-
forgive my daughter's student debt because then I won't have to pay
Right,
it.
my wife's student, I was lucky enough to pay for college through it, but if you think, I think after at 9/11, like when that happened, if they were to do a stimulus thing and said, look, we're going to give everybody $1,000. If you don't need it, go to this office and give it back, and we will integrate it into our national debt. I feel like after 9/11, people would do
have,
it.
yeah.
I
Now,
think so.
No,
I don't-
absolutely not.
I don't think I'd be in that.
They'd say, "That's
fucking
it?
line by
1,000?
myself,
That's all I'm
turning around
getting?"
and- right.
Well, and then the whole thing you say about
I think we're in trouble, man.
the thing you say about student loans. My wife had 30 some odd thousand. She paid it back in a year because she was living at home, and I didn't have
Right.
any because I had scholarships. So and then right now I'm paying for my master's degree out of my pocket while I work. So I work 50 hours a week, and then I do my schoolwork afterwards, and I'm paying for it outright. If I knew that they would have paid off my student loans, I'd just give me online classes at NYU or.
Well, that's why tuition's gone up.
Oh yeah.
People don't realize that either. When they signed into effect that that the government had to help me out. They had to had to help with student loans. All the universities jacked up their rates because they
knew they was
know
gonna get money back.
that they
Or
were
it's
going to
gonna
get
pay-
paid for it. Because
Yep, through
kids
the
would have to
government.
borrow it through the government.
Yeah.
Right. They probably had about
messed up.
100 dead kids that all of a sudden enrolled in
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
classes.
So
too.
when your student loans, or when tuition goes from $3,000 to $30,000 after 6 or 10 years because of this trend, and people keep paying it, but I think they're going to price themselves out of the market
Probably,
in a minute.
but then they're going to need bailouts.
Yep, and we'll do it.
There's going to be a lot more internships.
Or, they'll say, oh, well, it's going to be free for everybody to have college. College will be free. So then,
It won't work.
okay, we're still going to pay for that. Everybody, they're just going to roll it
yeah,
into
we're
everybody
paying
who
for it.
actually works is
Yeah.
going to pay for it.
Exactly.
50% taxes. Half your paycheck can go towards taxes.
And I love
eventually.
this. Everybody, an empty glass,
Yep.
2 Shots In podcast. If you have any questions, comments, please, we're begging you. Send them to
I
2,
don't
the
beg
number
nobody.
2, not TWO, but the number 2 Shots In podcast at gmail.com. Keep that powder dry. Keep those guns loaded.
That's right, baby.
Keep watching. We'll do our best to give you some good content, and we appreciate you, man. Anybody that's listening, watching, we love doing it.
Thank you.
We love having you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We enjoy it, and we're gonna keep doing it until that view level goes to 0.
No, we're working on making it go up.
I am Devvin Burgess.
Frank King.
Ginger Janae.
Daniel Semino.
And Paul Handbrice.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. Love
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Love y'all.
Thank y'all.
Bye bye.